It's time, sister. We have the green light from Circumflexat and... Let's get everything set up, a voice said. I will set up the seating, and you can teleport them. Will that work for you? Yes, the voice responded. The room got filled with a blinding light as several seating options appeared. Everything from beanbags to large couches. The girl with white hair walked into the reaction room and set up some food on a large table in the middle of the room. Shira, everything is set up here. The TV is prepared. You may teleport them in, the white-haired girl said in a monotone voice. Make sure that you change your attire. We need to appear less threatening to calm them down faster, Shira said in the same monotone voice. 2 blue orbs surrounded the girls as their outfits changed from their usual teal crop tops and skirts to matching kimonos, and their inhuman features shrunk as well. Now we appear more human. Now is the opportune time to teleport everyone here, the white-haired girl said. Very well, Shiro. Let's go in front of the screen first, Shira suggested. They both walked in front of the large screen, and the room got filled with a bright light like before. After a few moments, everyone appeared in the room, momentarily stunned with fear. It didn't take long for the demon slayers to react, bringing their swords out almost immediately. A few of the Hashiras ran up to the girls in the middle. Aiming for their necks, they missed and only scratched their cheeks. Shinazugawa stepped back from the black-haired girl and watched as not a drop of blood exited her wound. Well, that's inconvenient. I just got a new paint job, too, Shira sighed as she brought her hand to her face. Where the hell am I? Muzan demanded. Nakheim, take us back to the Infinity Castle now. I'm incredibly sorry, Lord Muzan. I cannot access the Infinity Castle right now, Nakheim apologized. Lord Muzan, I'm unable to use my blood demon art. What's going on? Rui asked. Ah, there are demons. I'm surely going to die now. And before I even got married, Zenitsu bawled. Father, Tanjiro, what are you doing here? Rengoku asked. Yushiro was standing in front of Tamao, attempting to protect her, while the Yubayashiki family huddled around Kageya and Kiriya. Before the chaos could continue, everyone got frozen in place. Terror fell upon many of the demon slayers. The girls stepped forward a bit. I knew this was going to happen, Shira. I thought it would have been better to change their emotions and make them calmer. However, you disagreed, Shiro sighed. Are you dumb? We got told by Circumflexat and that we weren't allowed to mess with their emotions. Shiro, move everyone to a seat so I can explain, Shiro reminded. Everyone got moved to a seat. Afterward, many voices started overlapping, with several questions. However, the room went quiet when Shiro snapped. You really should have thought this through, Shira, Shiro smirked. Even though Shira wasn't facing Shiro, she knew what was happening. Wipe that smirk off your face. Before I schedule you to be decommissioned, you are all going to react to someone's future. Shiro, release 3 people so they can ask their questions. I have no preference as to whom you release. Everyone stared at the 2 girls standing before them, arguing. Many of the demon slayers were dashing their eyes around, looking for a way to escape. Meanwhile, the demons seemed very casual, which was expected. I'll release the first person. Be prepared to ask your question when you can speak, Shiro said. Tanjiro could now move. He quickly asked a question. Where are we? And watching the future isn't that impossible. You are in the reacting room. Also, watching the future is no hardship for Shiro and me, Shira said. Whoever is next may ask their question. Why are there demons here? I saw some with kanji in both of their eyes. How can you be sure they won't take this opportunity to attack us? Kocho asked. Her voice was like ice. They are essential to the reaction. Do not worry. Your safety is our priority. None of them will be able to attack any human in here, or they will die. Whoever's next, speak up. Yubayashiki spoke next. If what you are saying is true, whose future are we watching? Also, are you 2 demons? I'll answer that, Shira. No, neither of us is a demon, but we aren't human either. It's complicated, I wouldn't think about it too much. And we will react to Kamado Tanjiro's future, Shiro responded. Everyone was unfrozen, and Muzan sighed. Why are we reacting to some useless slayer? I have things I need to do. Let me leave. Tanjiro began smelling the air and froze in fear. That scent, it's the same one that was left at my house. Kibutsuji Muzan. No, you might be the Demon King, But you hold no power over either of us. We're beings from another world. You can't kill us or turn us into a demon, Shira smiled coldly. Many slayers froze as they heard Shira speak. Most of them had the same thoughts, freaking out about the fact that they were in the same room as the Demon King. Anyways, get comfortable. We will start soon. We just need to grab a few things from the room behind us. Don't worry, time from your world is frozen. So, you won't miss anything, Shiro said as she walked into a room with Shira. Everyone picked a side of the room with the humans on the right and the demons on the left. The Hashiras were talking with Yubayashiki about what the game plan was. Before Shinjiro walked in front of the screen and raised his voice, "Which one of you brats is named Kamado Tanjiro?" Tanjiro gulped, slowly raising his hand. "That's me." Shinjiro grabbed Tanjiro's arm and pulled him over with other slayers. A few minutes later, both the girls walked out of the room with 2 pairs of glasses. They walked up to Himejima and Yubayashiki. "Please put these glasses on," the girls said simultaneously. Once they put on glasses hesitantly, the girls grabbed a remote and flipped the switch. Everyone watched as the glass turned green, and the men teared up. "My vision, it's back," Yubayashiki cried. The slayers stared at their master. He was crying for the first time in years. Their attention quickly turned to Himejima as he began crying too. "How is this even possible? May the gods bless your pure souls. Thank you for giving me eyesight. You truly are an angel." The girl sighed. "Now that is taken care of. We need to begin the reaction. Please get seated quickly." Everyone picked a seat. The Yubayashikis sat on the highest platform. Yusui and his wives took the futon on the second platform in the back. The rest of the older slayers and Rengoku's brother picked chairs on the platform too, while the Kamaboko squad picked futons on the main floor. However, the demons spread out on the first 2 platforms, with Tamio and Yushiro hiding on the top one. "Could someone explain why I feel a demonic presence on our side of the room, please?" Kocho asked. She looked down at the kids below her. Her tone was demanding, and it scared Tanjiro. However, she got her answer as Nezuko exited the box and leaned on Tanjiro. The Hashiras stared at the siblings, but Zenitsu was the first to speak. "You do know that she's a demon, right?" Tanjiro shrunk down before responding, "Yes, I do know. But I assure you she hasn't eaten a single human before." Before any of the slayers could interrupt Tanjiro, they got stopped. "Everything will be explained in due time. Please turn your attention to the black box in the center of the room," Shiro said. Despite their protestations, everyone turned their attention to the TV, waiting for anything. Everyone's eyes lit up at the screen turned on. They were presented with a loading screen, and they sat in awe. "I didn't know that pictures could move," Himejima exclaimed. Many of the Hashiras were flabbergasted, trying to understand this newfound technology. "I've never seen moving pictures before." "How exciting," Dalma responded. "This is a device called a television. It comes from the future. This is how you all will be watching the future of Kamado Tanjiro," Shiro responded. "We're going to start with a bit of the past, but then we will move on to the future. Try not to question how we acquired this footage. Call our names if you need a break." "Well, I suppose we should get this over with so we can get back to saving lives," Rengoku shouted. Episode 1 Cruelty. Once the bar reached the other side, the screen changed to the first of many episodes the characters were tasked with watching. Tanjiro gulped. He wasn't ready for everyone to watch his life. Many of the humans had their eyes glued to the screen. The screen faded to black, and loud panting was heard. It showed someone walking through heavy snowfall. The wind was loud, and after a few seconds, 2 faces appeared. Tanjiro, carrying a bloody Nezuko on his back. His thoughts were shown to everyone. How in the world could something like this happen? "Come on, Nezuko, I've got you. Don't die on me. No matter what it takes, I'll save you. I won't let you die. I promise I'll save you. Your big brother's got you," Tanjiro thought. Everyone looked at the screen in awe and confusion. Kamado was actually on the screen. Many of them looked confused, trying to figure out what was happening. Tomioka looked closer at the boy on the screen, then at his feet. "This is the boy whose sister turned into a demon. I'm glad he's still alive," Tomioka thought. "I wonder if he's been to the final selection yet." Tanjiro forced himself to keep looking at the screen. All this did was bring back terrible memories. But he started thinking. So this is where we're starting. I know they said not to question it, but how do they have this footage? No one was near me when I was carrying Nezuko. Moreover, how can I hear my inner thoughts? Why are we watching this kid's life? We could be saving people, Iguro scowled. Despite the annoyance the Slayer displayed, the video continued. And I could be killing demons, Inosuke shouted. It zoomed out, showing what a long journey he had ahead. Then the scenery changed. Tanjiro was getting ready to leave. He put on a giant basket filled with charcoal. His hair was much longer, too. Muzan froze in fear when Tanjiro's earrings were shown. No, that can't be right. That man is still haunting me. Even after all of this time, he won't leave me alone, he thought. Those earrings seem familiar, but why? Shinjiro thought. Tanjiro's mom walked over to him. She wore a white apron that covered her checkered kimono. Tanjiro, your face is covered in soot. Let me clean you up. You know you really don't have to go. All this snow could be dangerous. Despite his mother's worry, he responded swiftly. I want us to have a good New Year's celebration, where everyone can eat as much as they want. So, I'll sell all the charcoal I can. Kenroji squealed. You're such a good kid, Kamado-kun. Rengoku agreed. Caring for the well-being of your family is quite a noble feat. Thank you, Tanjiro said. He forced a smile onto his face. It was the first time he had seen his family in over 2 years. How thoughtful, his mother responded. A warm smile was on her face. Their silence was interrupted by Tanjiro's siblings running up to them. Hey, bro, are you going to town again today? I'm coming with you, his sister said. At that moment, another Kamado walked from behind the house. Who are those two? Kocho asked. My younger siblings, Hanako and Shidru, Tanjiro said. No, you're not, Kai said. You know you can't walk as fast as Tanjiro, sweetie. Ah, come on, Mom, Shidru cried. Kai walked over to them. No way. He's not going to be able to use the cart today, which means he can't give you a ride when you get tired. Both of them fought back a refute. Shidru ran up to Tanjiro, crying out his name as he hugged him. I want to come with you. I promise I'll help out, Hanako pleaded. Tanjiro patted her head gently. That's generous of you, Hanako. But no, you're staying home today. Her face went from a smile to horror in less than a second. Tanjiro bent down and caressed Shidru's cheek. Sorry, Shidru, you are too. But I'll bring back goodies, okay? His face lit up. Promise. Yeah, Tanjiro responded. He turned to Hanako. And Hanako, I'll read for you when I get home later. Hanako smiled. Okay. Good girl, Tanjiro said as he patted her head again. How many siblings did you have, Tanjiro? Suma asked. 5, Nezuko, Takeo, Hanako, Shidru, and Rokuta, Tanjiro answered. You are a caring brother, Kamado. It's commendable, Tacho said. Jutaro and Daki scoffed. Whatever. Tanjiro blushed at the compliment. Thank you. But inside, he was trying to stay strong. He knew what was going to happen. Yet he still wasn't prepared. But he had to stay strong for Nezuko. Part of his composure nearly slipped when the blonde-haired boy next to him whispered. Hey, I don't mean to sound rude, but are you okay? You sound sad. I'm Zenitsu Agatsuma, by the way. We were in the final selection together. Tanjiro quickly regained his composure and responded, I remember you, but yeah, I'm just a bit nervous with everyone watching my life. I'll be fine. Thank you for doing this, Tanjiro, his mother said. Of course. Time for me to head out. He turned his attention to his other sibling. Hey, Takeo, do me a favor while I'm gone, okay? Chop as much wood as you can. He grumbled. Yeah, I was already going to do that anyway. But I was kinda hoping we could do it together this time. Tanjiro walked over to Takeo and rubbed his head. There now. Knock it off, would ya? Takeo said as he bounced back. You're blushing. Take, Shidru joked. Shut up, brat, Takeo yelled back. Tanjiro patted his head again and repeated, There now. Takeo hit his hand away jokingly. I told you to cut it out. They all began laughing, and Tanjiro let out one of his bright smiles. They all waved as Tanjiro walked away. Hurry back, okay, Shidru yelled. Be safe, and see you when you get back, Hanako said. Tanjiro waved at them before walking away. As he was leaving, he got stopped by Nezuko. Hi, Tanjiro, Nezuko smiled. Her hair was in a neat bun. So that's what she looked like when she was a human, Tomioka thought. Tanjiro walked up to her. Hey, Nezuko. She's pretty, maybe she'd marry me, Zenitsu thought. Though she is a demon, so that's scary. I had to put Rokita down for a nap now. Otherwise, he'd throw a fit. Ever since Dad passed, he's been glued to your side, Tanjiro rubbed Rokuta's head gently. In fact, everyone seems to follow you wherever you go. I'll see you when you get back. I'm sorry about your father passing, young Kamado. But I'm glad you stepped up for your younger siblings, Rengoku smiled. Tanjiro pulled his legs to his chest. It wasn't easy, but I'd do it 1,000,000 times again if it meant they were happy. Namu Amitabutsu. May his soul rest in peace, Hajime prayed. Jayako rolled his eyes and huffed loud enough for everyone to hear. This is so boring. I could be making human art or something more interesting than watching some stupid boy who's going to get killed soon. Shinazugawa yelled at the upper rank. Shut up, you ugly-ass freak. Nobody asked for your opinion. As soon as we can leave this wretched place, I assure you that I will cut your head off. Jayako growled but turned his attention to the screen as the video continued. Tanjiro began walking through the snow. We don't exactly have an easy life, but we're happy. Life can change though, as sudden as the weather, it shifts and moves on. The sun can't shine forever, and the snow has to stop at one point. But whatever happens, whenever happiness is destroyed, it's always followed by the smell of blood. With that, a few demons perked up, while many of the slayers worried if this was foreshadowing. Nevertheless, they continued. Tanjiro reached town quickly. An old woman was sweeping until she noticed him. Ah, Tanjiro, you came down the mountain on a day like today. Do you ever stop working? You could catch a cold. He reassured her. It's not as bad as you think. You need a refill on charcoal by any chance? A man who was nearby spoke up. Hey, Tanjiro, I'll take some more. I'm good, but thanks for fixing my sliding doors the other day, another man said. Yubayashiki smiled. Tanjiro has a good heart. I do hope that won't be his downfall. I need some charcoal, too, a woman said. Tanjiro turned when he heard some crashing in the house next to him, startled when a man came running out. He ran up to Tanjiro with a bloody nose. Tanjiro, I'm so glad you're here, he sobbed as he presented a plate. I've been accused of breaking this plate. Can you help me out here? Give it a sniff. Why does he want you to smell a plate? Takedo asked. Ah, I was born with an enhanced sense of smell, Tanjiro responded. Tanjiro leaned down and smelled the broken plate. It smells like a cat to me. The man turned to the lady. See? So it really was a cat, the lady exclaimed. You have quite a good sense of smell, Tanjiro-kun, Kenroji complimented. Ah, thank you, Kenroji-san, Tanjiro said. Akaza rolled his eyes. Do we have to watch some useless child? This is so boring. He paused in thought. However, if he's currently a demon slayer, maybe he could be a worthy opponent. I guess I just have to wait for all this mushy stuff to be over, he thought. I tried to tell you I didn't do it. Another man behind them spoke up. Hey, Tanjiro, I don't suppose you could give me a hand with this luggage, could you? The scenery changed, and the sky was no longer light. The wind was strong, and Tanjiro was ascending the mountain. How'd it get so late? He wondered. Oh well, at least I sold out. He was stopped by a man. Hang on, Tanjiro. You're not going back up the mountain now. It's simply too dangerous. It's fine. I've got a good nose, Tanjiro replied. The old man ignored Tanjiro. You can stay here for the night. Come on, get inside. I agree with the man. There could be demons lurking around. Even with your good sense of smell, you wouldn't be able to kill a demon without a Nichiren blade, Yurakodaki said. He was sharing a futon with Tomioka. Tanjiro smiled at him. Yeah, I realize that now. There's no way I would have been able to kill a demon without a blade and no experience. Now that I think about it, old man Saburo is the only reason I'm alive. If he hadn't warned me, I would have been slaughtered like everyone else. But no, Tanjiro attempted to refute. Don't argue, just get in here, it panned into his face. Before the demons show up. Tanjiro complied and went into his house. Eating the food Saburo prepared. Thanks for dinner, he paused. Hey, Mr. Saburo. What did you mean by demons? There have always been man-eating demons prowling about after dark, he responded as he set up an extra futon. That's why it's not safe to go outside at night. Time for bed, you get set off for home at first light. Tanjiro lay in bed. These demons, they're not able to come inside their house, are they? Yes, they could come in, Saburo said as he smoked a pipe. That is the cruel truth about the world we're in, Iguro sighed. You never know what day could be your last. All because of demons. With Iguro's comment, Hontingu and Jayako rolled their eyes. Then wouldn't they just eat everyone, Tanjiro asked. The demon slayers protect us by killing as many demons as they can. They always have. Now go to sleep, it's lights out. Old man Saburo, he's been on his own since he lost his family. He must be lonely. I'll bring my brothers and sister by. You don't have to be scared. There are no demons. You're safe. Although now that I think about it, my grandma used to say the same thing before she passed away, Tanjiro thought as he drifted to sleep. Taketo stared at Tanjiro. Did you think demons didn't exist? You were a fool. Ah, yeah, I was pretty naive. In my defense, I had never seen a demon before Nezuko, so I thought they were just made up, Tanjiro chuckled. The scene changed to daytime, and the birds were chirping. You be careful now, Saburo warned, as he sent off Tanjiro. Tanjiro thanked Saburo before going up the mountain once more. It was peaceful, and the sound of crows could be heard. However, Tanjiro's thoughts arose again as the slayers tensed, and the demons looked excited. Whenever happiness is destroyed, it's always followed. Tanjiro stopped and smelled the air, the smell of blood. He ran towards his house. The back of his head was shown, and he was breathing heavily. His eyes were wide open, and his jaw was open. The screen panned over to Nezuko's bloody body. Many of the slayers held back the gagging in their throats. Tanjiro jolted his head away from the screen. He didn't want to see any of that again. He closed his eyes and covered his ears, trying to regain his composure. However, everyone's panic was interrupted by Dauma. This just got a lot more interesting. Don't you think, Akaza Dono? Shut the fuck up, Dauma. I don't want to hear your annoying voice, Akaza responded. Kenroji looked down at the siblings fighting back tears. Tanjiro, how old were you when this happened? Tanjiro choked back a sob. 13. Nezuko was 12. The video played once more. Tanjiro screamed as it zoomed into Nezuko and Rokuda's bloody body. He threw off his empty basket and ran over to them. Nezuko, what happened? What's going on here? What happened to you? He turned his head and looked inside his house. Terror filled his face even more. He left her body and walked to the doorway, following the trail of blood. He put his hand on the door frame. He whispered, Mom. I can't imagine losing my family in such a brutal way, Kenroji thought. He slid down, falling to his knees as he saw his family bathed in blood. He began saying their names as it showed each body in detail. Zenitsu helped cover Tanjiro's face so he didn't have to see it again. He hugged Tanjiro, whose tears dampened his Haori. Nezuko started tearing up as well. She held onto Tanjiro tighter. Most of the people turned away in respect for Tanjiro's family. The room was filled with a mix of emotions from each side. It continued with Tanjiro running through the snow, wind howling. His thoughts raced. Nezuko's the only one who's warm. If I can get her to a doctor, she might live. How did something like this happen? Maybe a bear that couldn't find a place to hibernate. He began panting as he jumped over a log. I can't breathe. The air is icy. My lungs hurt. Just keep moving. Move those legs of yours faster. We've still got a long way to get to town. Hurry. I won't let you die. I'm going to save you no matter what it takes. Your big brother will save you. What Tanjiro couldn't see was that Nezuko's fingers began twitching. Then her head moved back and forth. Her teeth grew sharp, and she started growling, before moving around and causing both of them to fall off a cliff. I presume this is when your sister changed into a demon, Kacho asked. It is, but as I said, Nezuko has never eaten a human. Please believe me, Tanjiro begged. Daki laughed. A demon that doesn't eat humans. I knew humans sucked at lying, but that's a new low. Urokodaki spoke up. He's telling the truth. I've lived with them for the past 2 years, and Nezuko has been asleep the whole time, never consuming a drop of blood. I also used hypnosis to convince her that all humans are her family. What? How is this possible? Another demon broke my curse. No matter, I'll send some demons to keep her out so she burns up, Muzan thought. Oh no. Tanjiro lay in the snow for a moment. The snow saved me, but the snow is the only reason I fell. He got up quickly, calling out for his sister. He looked around trying to find her before seeing her standing up with the cloth falling off her shoulder. Nezuko, are you okay? You don't have to walk. Let me carry you to town, all right, Tanjiro said. He ran up to her, but her skin was much paler than before. Nezuko. Nezuko looked up at him and growled. Before launching herself at him, Tanjiro reacted quickly, putting his hatchet in her mouth. Nezuko pushed both of them to the ground as she continued attacking him. I thought you said she's never hurt a human before. Dear child, Kacho said coldly. The only time Nezuko's attacked a human was when she first turned after that day. She's never hurt a human and she never will, Tanjiro shouted. Yeah, right. I can't wait to get proof that all demons are the same, and I can decapitate this demon brat, Shinizugawa muttered under his breath. She's a demon. This was what old man Saburo tried to tell me about, Tanjiro thought as he continued to push Nezuko back. She's a man-eating demon. Impossible. Nezuko's been a human since the day she was born. Except she doesn't have Nezuko's scent anymore. But she isn't the one who killed them. It panned back to Nezuko and Rokuda's bloody bodies. She was lying on top of Rokuda like she was protecting him, and her hands and mouth weren't covered in blood. But there was one more. There was another scent. Nezuko began to grow in size, pushing against the hatchet in her mouth. How are you getting bigger? Tanjiro wondered, and she's getting stronger too. While I was sleeping like a baby at Saburo's, you were all being brutally murdered. It must have hurt. You suffered, didn't you? I'm sorry I wasn't there to help. I have to at least save Nezuko though, but she's too strong for me to do anything. Tears filled his eyes. Tanjiro continued looking away from the screen in both frustration and self-loathing. However, he left his trance when he heard a coin flip, and a girl softly spoke up. Tanjiro, there was no feasible way that you could have known what was happening that day. If you had ignored Saburo-san, you would have died as well, Kano said. Amain spoke after. I agree. You shouldn't blame yourself for something that you couldn't have prevented. If you never let it go, the guilt will kill you before any demon can. I know that now. Thank you. Tanjiro smiled softly as he looked back at the screen. Tanjiro called out Nezuko's name. Hang on, Nezuko, don't give in. You've got to hang on. The screen moved and showed someone in a demon slayer uniform running quickly, with a sword in their sheath. Most of their body was hidden. I wonder who that is. Don't let it take control, Tanjiro yelled. You gotta stay strong, just hang on, please. Water could be seen falling from above Tanjiro. It fell on his cheek and his eyes opened wide. It moved back and showed Nezuko, crying. Tears fell onto Tanjiro. It quickly moved back to the Slayer who was running. But now everyone knew who it was. Ara, Tomioka-san. You've met these kids before, Kocho asked. For the first time since they got there. Tomioka said, I did. I was the one who told Tanjiro to go see Urokodaki. Am I the only one surprised by the amount of emotion that demon is showing? Genya asked. If you ask me, it's quite flamboyant that demons can cry, Yusui laughed. Many angles of the Slayer were shown as he ran. Before he jumped up, with his sword raised, prepared to slaughter the demon. However, his eyes widened as Tanjiro grabbed Nezuko by the neck, moving her out of the way. Rather than Nezuko's neck getting cut, he cut Tanjiro's ponytail off, causing snow to blow up once he reached the ground. Tanjiro and Nezuko rolled away and crashed into a tree. What the? Who's that? A sword? Tanjiro thought. A close-up of the man's face was shown and his sword read Destroyer of Demons. Tomioka wasted no time asking questions. Why are you protecting it? Ah, acting cold like usual, Tomioka-san, Kocho said. She's my sister. I was taking her to get help, Tanjiro responded. Nezuko continued to growl as she attempted to leave Tanjiro's grasp. Tomioka had no visible expression. You call that thing your sister? Tomioka ran up to the siblings and Tanjiro attempted to duck. However, once he reached the ground, Nezuko was no longer with him. Instead, she was held by Tomioka's grip, while growling even more. That speed? You're a Hashira, no? Akaza asked. Tomioka looked at him for a moment, before looking back at the screen, ignoring Akaza's question. Nezuko, Tanjiro called out as he stood up. Don't move, Tomioka stated, as snow began to move and obstruct their views. My job is to slay every demon I find, which means I have to decapitate your sister here. Tomioka's grip stayed strong as Tanjiro yelled back. No, wait. Nezuko hasn't hurt anyone. Back at my house, there was another scent I had never smelled before. That's probably the one who killed my family. The view was moving over to Tanjiro. Nezuko didn't do it. I don't know why she's changed into something like this. But still, it's really quite simple. She's turned because her wounds were exposed to demon blood. That's how the man-eating monsters multiply, Tomioka responded. His face was devoid of expression. Monsters, Dauma exclaimed, pretending to be shocked. That's quite rude. Nezuko would never eat a human. You must be joking. If I hadn't gotten here when I did, she would have devoured you, Tomioka said. You're wrong. She knows I'm her big brother, and I won't let her hurt anyone, Tanjiro tried to reason. I'll turn her back into a human. I will heal her. You are a fool. Demons can't be turned back, Shinazukawa said. His arms were behind his head as he sat on a black futon pressed against the wall of the platform. Tanjiro didn't hesitate to refute. You don't know that. I won't stop searching until I find a cure, and if I can't, I'll leave it up to those who come after me. Kokushibo leaned against the wall before saying, You need to stop being naive. If there is a cure, no demon would willingly tell you. There's no point in holding on to a lie. He stopped. As soon as Kokushibo stared at him, he turned back to the screen, annoyed that no one believed in him. She can't be healed. Once you become a demon, no one can ever go back, Tomioka stated. Tanjiro extended his arms. There's a way, and I'll find it no matter what it takes. So please let her live. I'll hunt down the one who slaughtered my family. I promise I'll make everything right. Please, let her go. Tomioka continued to bring his sword closer to Nezuko's neck as Tanjiro pleaded. His family was shown momentarily before he continued his pleading. Don't take anyone else anyway from me, he pleaded. He put his hands on the snow and bowed as low as he could. I'm begging you. Please, don't kill my little sister. Please don't do it. I'm begging you. Tears flew out of his eyes. Nothing is quite like watching a human pitifully beg for their life, Enmu thought. Tomioka stood there in silence for a moment before bursting out in anger. Don't grovel like that and give the enemy the chance to kill you. All you're doing is making yourself vulnerable. If it was a little bit effective, your family would still be alive right now. How can a weakling like you have any hope in finding a way to heal his sister or hunt down a demon? Don't be ridiculous. The weak have no rights. They don't get to make choices. All they can do is be relentlessly crushed by the strong. Now maybe the demons know of a way to cure your sister. Maybe, but don't think that even for a moment they are going to respect your wishes. Just like I have no respect for you. That's reality. And why the hell did you throw yourself over her like that? Was that your way of protecting her? Why didn't you swing that hatchet? And why would you ever turn your back to me? He pointed his sword at Tanjiro. Those mistakes are what led to her capture. I could have easily skewered both of you and been done with it. Many of the Hashiras sat in confusion. Tomioka was well known for showing little emotion and being level-headed, so his outburst was a shock to them all. While I partially agree with you, Juwu, I do think you could have handled it without threatening his life, Yubayashiki smiled. Tomioka mumbled, right. However, much to everyone's surprise, Tomioka's inner thoughts were shown as well. Don't cry. Don't succumb to sorrow. This isn't the time to despair. I know you're devastated right now. Your family massacred your sister, a demon. I know it hurts. I know you want to scream. I understand. If only I had gotten here a half day sooner, maybe then your family would still be alive. However, there's no way to turn back time. So feel it. Feel the pure rage of being unable to forgive. Let it be what gives you strength to take action. With that fragile resolve of yours, you can't protect your sister or heal her, and you'll never get revenge for what happened to your family. He brought his sword closer to Nezuko. Tanjiro looked behind him. Is that what you were truly thinking back then? It was. I apologize. However, I probably could have handled it better. Tanjiro smiled. No, it's all right. You gave me the push I needed to become stronger. Though I am sorry about the hatchet. Hatchet? Kocho asked. I'm sure it will be shown if we keep watching, Tanjiro said as he turned his attention back. No, Tanjiro yelled as Nezuko got stabbed in the shoulder. Don't you touch her. Tanjiro threw a rock. However, Tomioka quickly deflected it off his sword. Tanjiro got up quickly and grabbed the hatchet, running behind trees in the process. He threw another rock, but Tomioka dodged it. He yelled as he ran towards Tomioka, his hands hidden. You let your emotions drive you to charge at me. You are a fool, Tomioka yelled as his sword crashed into Tanjiro's back. Tanjiro fell to the ground, knocked out cold. That had to have hurt, Aoi said. Tomioka-san must have put in a lot of force if he passed out. It didn't hurt too bad. Adrenaline was circling my body, so that helped me not feel it as much, Tanjiro chuckled. Tomioka stayed in his stance for a few seconds. However, it panned out and no hatchet was seen. Nezuko stood there in fear, eyes shaking as she looked at her brother. Wait, I thought he had a hatchet. Where is it? Sanjuro asked. Good eye, brother, Rengoku yelled. I do not see it either. Perhaps the Kamado boy has a plan. Shinazugawa rolled his eyes, doubtful. A 13-year-old boy, having a solid plan to take down a Hashira. Don't add to his ego. I suppose we'll just have to wait and see, Kacho smiled. This is just lovely. I hope I get to see more blood spill, Imnu thought as he adjusted his seating position. Tomioka gasped. What happened to the hatchet? He looked up and saw the hatchet swinging towards his face. He barely avoided it, moving his head barely out of the way. His eyes widened. Right before he went behind that tree, he threw the rock, and at the same time, he tossed the hatchet. He was only pretending to attack me, so I wouldn't realize he was unarmed. He knew he had no way of beating me. His whole plan was to bring me down after I knocked him out. This kid. Shinazugawa and the other Hashiras sat in shock at this kid's skills. Holy crap, Tomioka was almost taken out by a kid with no previous training, Aguro blurted. Muzan sat, fear plastered all over his face. This brat is nearly identical to that man. If he learned sun breathing, I don't know what I'd do. Yubayashiki said, That was rather impressive. Tanjiro, you're quick on your feet. Ah, thank you. He stood up and faced Tomioka. I don't think I apologized before, but I'm sorry for almost killing you. The demons were in awe, wondering why on earth he was apologizing. Why the hell are you apologizing? You had every right to kill him. He nearly killed your sister, Jutaro yelled. Well, if I had killed him, I would have felt bad. I never wanted to kill him. I wasn't thinking clearly because of the stress. Now let's continue, Tanjiro responded. While Tomioka was lost in thought, Nezuko began growling again, and kicked Tomioka away from them. Damn it, she'll kill him, Tomioka thought. However, he was proven wrong. His eyes widened once more as Tanjiro's voice rang in Tomioka's head. Nezuko. Nezuko was shown protecting him. Nezuko didn't do it. She growled at Tomioka. She'd never eat a human. Nearly everyone's eyes widened in shock. A demon protecting a human. How absurd. Yet here it was happening right in front of their very eyes. Haimjima began praising God for answering his request, while Muzan's face was full of fury. Nissan, does this mean your dream can come true? Kocho wondered, her eyes wide. Nezuko charged at Tomioka before he got lost in thought once more. Long ago, someone else said the same thing, only to end up being devoured. A starving demon will eat anyone, its own brothers, sisters, parents. They're rich in nutrients. I've seen it more times than I can count. This girl had been badly wounded. He continued monologuing as Nezuko tried to attack him. She's using up a lot of energy to heal herself. Surely most of her strength was used during her transformation. So there's no question, she's starving right now. She must have been craving a feast from the start, even her own brother. But she protected him and turned her attention to me. Nezuko jumped on a tree and launched herself at Tomioka, preparing to strike. However, he put his sword back in its sheath. I wonder if, just maybe, these two are different. Tomioka hit Nezuko's neck, causing her to pass out. You let them live? That's a direct violation of the Demon Slayer Corp, Shinazugawa yelled as he stood up. Now hold on, Seimi. Nezuko has proven herself, and according to Shira and Shiro, we're going to watch the future, so she will have more chances to prove to be an ally. If she can do that, I want all of you to accept Nezuko as you would with any other demon slayer, Yubayashiki smiled. Thank you. I promise we won't let you down, Tanjiro exclaimed. Meanwhile, in the very back, Tamio was trying not to tear up. Another demon that doesn't eat humans. Could Nezuko be the miracle we've all been waiting for? The screen faded to black momentarily, before picking back up. Tanjiro's dead family surrounded him. Kai lowered herself and spoke. We have to leave you behind, Tanjiro. I'm so sorry. Take care of Nezuko. How is Tanjiro's dead family talking to him? Tomioka asked. Perhaps it's his family's final wish that they wanted to relay before passing on, Himejima suggested. When Tanjiro awoke, he saw his sister alive with a muzzle in her mouth. Tears were streaming out of his eyes. However, the touching moment was ruined. You awake? Tomioka asked. Tanjiro quickly sat up and held onto Nezuko tightly. Get to Mount Sajiri as soon as possible. Look for an old man named Sakanji Yorokodaki. When you find him, tell him Jiu Tomioka sent you. It's cloudy, so she seems to be all right at the moment, but never let her be exposed to sunlight. He quickly vanished, and the siblings were alone once more. It cut to Tanjiro praying over his family's grave. Nezuko was in a new outfit, standing and showing little emotion. Let's go, Tanjiro said. He grabbed Nezuko's hand. They walked in the forest together, leaving their family behind. Tanjiro looked back one last time before running off with Nezuko into the freezing forest. That is the end of episode 1. Does anyone need a break right now? The restrooms are to the right down the hallway. And there's a fully stocked kitchen further down, Shira said. Don't be afraid to stretch your legs. I can answer any questions you have. Unless they are going to get answered later, Shiro said. Muzan stood up. How long are we going to be here? Well, each video is around 24 minutes and around 50 episodes. So, about 48 days. But do not worry, we have all the necessities, bathrooms, a kitchen, and bedrooms, Shira said. 48 days. We could be hunting down demons, or saving villages. Why are we wasting time on this stupid kid? Iguro shouted. Like we said before, time from your world stands still while you're here. This kid is special, and as you continue you will be given important information. Whether you choose to believe it or not doesn't matter to us, Shiro stated. Now, if no one needs a break, we are going to continue. Many of them ran theories in their head as to what made Kamado special. Including Tanjiro, he had no idea what Shiro was talking about. However, they all turned their attention back to the screen. Episode 2, Trainer Sakonji Yorokodaki. The screen started up again and showed a crow squawking as it flew over some fields. Ah, seems we're starting again, Kacho said. Pardon me, sir. Would it be all right if I took that basket and some straw and bamboo? Tanjiro asked. What do you plan to do with a basket filled with holes? Suma asked. Oh, I remember this. I modified the basket so Nezuko could be in it while we travel, Tanjiro said. A man with a brown haori responded, Sure, you're more than welcome for all the good it will do you. The basket's full of holes. Thank you. I'll gladly pay you for it, Tanjiro said. No, you don't have to do that, the man said while waving his hand. I don't need it anyway. Please, I insist. No, it's fine. Same goes for the straw and bamboo, the man argued. Let me pay you, Tanjiro argued back as he grabbed a few coins. I said it's fine, so just take it, you stubborn kid. Tanjiro slapped a few coins in the man's hand. Take this small offering for your trouble, please, and thanks a lot for your help. The man screamed in pain as Tanjiro ran back to Nezuko. The scenery changed to a mountain with a cave. Rengoku laughed loudly. You are quite a stubborn kid, young Kamado. Though I suppose you could have handled that better. How hard did you hit him? He was crying in pain, Hinetsuru asked. Tanjiro chuckled softly. I didn't mean to hurt him. I just didn't want to take his things without paying. This boy, he has a kind heart. Maybe we could be friends, Zenitsu thought. Nezuko. Hey Nezuko, Tanjiro called out before entering the cave. She's gone. Before Tanjiro could freak out more, Nezuko popped up from a hole she dug. Hey Nezuko, Tanjiro said. He began thinking. Why'd she dig a hole? Is my demon kid sister turning into a mole now? Nezuko groaned, and she doesn't look very happy about it either. Guess she really wants to avoid the sun. Hang on a second. He started splitting the bamboo and intertwining it with the basket. Tanjiro repeated Nezuko's name as he presented the basket to her. That's interesting. She seems to have mentally regressed to a younger age, Kacho said. You think you can fit in here? I want to try to keep moving during the day too. But I can carry you okay, Tanjiro said. Nezuko peeped out of the hole and groaned as Tanjiro kept talking. Can you fit in here? Basket. Nezuko groaned once more as she crawled to the basket. She fit her head in and slumped onto the ground. Guess not, Tanjiro got lost in thought. I can't believe how grown up she is. Seems like yesterday she was half that side. He widened his eyes with a thought. Hey, Nezuko. Remember how you got really big the other day? I've got an idea. Do you think you can get smaller? Come on, Nezuko. Get smaller for me. Nezuko toppled over the basket as she got in. When she appeared again, she was much smaller, like a child. She's so cute. Right, Lord Tenjin? Suma asked. I suppose she's flashy. But not as flashy as us, of course, Tenjin replied. Kawaii. Nezuko-chan is so adorable, Kenroji squealed. This is so useless. Those girls said we'd be getting important information, but nothing is important about watching some bottom-feeder demon, Daki thought. Nice job, Tanjiro said as he patted her head. Who's a good girl? You are, Nezuko. I'm impressed. The scene changed once more. It was now sundown. Tanjiro was carrying Nezuko in the makeshift box. Mount Sujiri, a woman asked them. If you really want to get there, the fastest way is over that mountain, but the sun's about to set, and you're hauling an awful lot of luggage. It's dangerous. Please don't worry. I'll be careful, Tanjiro said as he bowed to the lady and her son. He thanked them for the directions and began walking that way. A lot of people have been going missing on that mountain lately. Don't get lost, okay, she yelled. Tanjiro waved them goodbye as he hiked up the mountain. The sun had set and Nezuko was out of the basket. They continued walking together until Tanjiro noticed a temple. It's a temple. Looks like the lights have been left on, so somebody must be there. Let's check it out. Tanjiro smelled the air. That's the smell of blood. This path can be pretty rough. Someone must have gotten hurt. I bet it's a demon, Genya mumbled. If it's a demon, I hope we get to see this supposedly special kid in action, because I'm bored, Enmu thought. They both ran up to the entrance of the temple. Tanjiro pushed open the doors aggressively. Is everyone okay? He asked. However, once he asked, his eyes widened in shock. He dropped the basket in fear, as it panned over to multiple dead bodies, all showered in blood. Himejima began praying for the lost souls. Another opportunity for Nezuko to prove herself, Yubayashiki said. I just wish it was under better conditions. A demon with weird markings on its body spoke. The hell you doing here? This is my territory. Anyone who steps on my turf is gonna have to pay. It's a demon, Tanjiro thought, fear plastered on his face. Meanwhile, Nezuko stood at the entrance staring at the bodies. Drool dripped out from under her muzzle. Fear covered her face. Her eyes twitched. She's drooling. I don't think that's a good thing, Kenroji said. She better not eat any of those bodies, Iguro growled. He asked as he licked the blood off his hands. Something's not quite right about you two. Hang on, are you two human? Tanjiro stepped back. It showed them standing as if they were about to duel. The candlelight blew out as the demon ran up to Tanjiro, pushing them out of the temple. Before they hit the ground, Tanjiro pulled out his hatchet and swung it, cutting the demon's neck. Damn, that wasn't too bad, kid. Although I'm sure it will heal quickly, Akaza said. Tanjiro tensed at the praise and mumbled, Thanks. I want to fight, Manjiro, Inosuke yelled. Maybe later, Tanjiro said. The demon laughed. A hatchet. Not bad, kid. Just a little scratch, though. Should heal in no time. His skin started healing. See that? The bleeding's already stopped. Even if it hadn't healed yet, there's no way you could kill him with a regular hatchet, Shinazugawa said. Tanjiro gasped. While Nezuko was still at the entrance, fists clenched trying to keep herself back. Drool continued to pool out of her mouth as she stared at the bodies. Tanjiro attempted to act. but the demon moved before he could, pinning him down by the neck, trying to choke him out. He's so fast and insanely strong. You got lucky, but it won't work again, and now I'm going to snap your neck, the demon threatened. Nezuko stayed still, trying to not eat the humans. The second that Tanjiro yelled, her pupils turned to slits. Nezuko ran up to them quickly and kicked the demon's head clean off. It flew into a tree and fell to the ground. Many were shocked by Nezuko's strength. How is she that strong without eating any humans? Shinazugawa asked. If that's how strong she is without eating any humans, imagine how strong she'll be when she inevitably eats one, Enmu praised. Tanjiro was stunned with fear as the headless body fell off of him. He sat up quickly. Shinazuko killed him. Wait a minute, he's a demon. Ni Nezuko. The demon's body tried to attack him, but was swiftly kicked away by Nezuko. I don't believe it. Did that body just move, and without a head? Tanjiro wondered. He looked over at the tree the body got kicked to. You bastards, so the girl's a demon after all, huh? I couldn't tell with that weird vibe you gave off. But what are you doing teaming up with a human? The demon yelled. How is he still talking? Tanjiro wondered. Kenroji laughed. I remember the first time I had to kill a demon, I thought the same thing. The demon's body ran up to the siblings before jumping and kicking the ground hard. The demon began attacking Nezuko as Tanjiro picked up the hatchet. Leave her alone, Tanjiro shouted as he ran up to them. However, his attention got directed as the head, who had just sprouted arms, ran up to him and tried attacking. Tanjiro put the metal in the demon's mouth as he began grabbing Tanjiro's arms. The body was beating up Nezuko as Tanjiro shouted her name. The body picked up Nezuko and threw her through the forest. No, Nezuko, Tanjiro cried. He looked down at his hatchet and watched the demon wrap its hair around the blade. What the hell is with this guy? Who grows arms out of the side of their head? I've got to help Nezuko. Out of the way, Tanjiro shouted as he head-butt the demon. The demon flew back a bit and commented on how hard Tanjiro's head was. Tanjiro head-butted him once more. He grabbed the hatchet and flung it, causing both the demon and the axe to get pinned to the tree. Damn kid, how hard is your head? Akaza asked. That might be the first time I've ever seen anyone head-butt a demon, Rui said. Yes, Tanjiro said as he ran off. Wrapping my hair around his hatchet wasn't a great idea. Damn, the demon said. Tanjiro ran off in search of Nezuko. Nezuko, where are you? He called out. He continued looking around and running until he found her. Nezuko, get away from her. Tanjiro leaped onto the demon, causing them both to fall off a cliff. He began to scream until Nezuko grabbed his Haori, pulling him up to safety, while the demon's body landed on a rock, causing the head to become unconscious. That was close. It's a good thing your sister caught you, because from that height if you fell you would have died, Urokodaki said. That was surprisingly badass. Now go kill that demon and don't be merciful, Iguro said. They went back to the head, and Tanjiro pulled out a knife. I wonder how many demons there are. This isn't the scent I found at my house. It's different. But I still have to finish him off, or he'll keep killing people. So that means I have to do it. Tanjiro's breath wavered in fear. Just do it, he thought. He gasped when he felt a hand on his shoulder. Tanjiro turned his head to look at the person. That knife isn't going to do the job, the man said. He wore a blue Haori and a red mask. Urokodaki, Tomioka thought. You must be Urokodaki, Kacho said. I am, he nodded. What's with the mask? And I couldn't hear his footsteps, Tanjiro thought as he fully turned around. Okay, how do I kill him then? He asked, his voice still wavering. Think for yourself. Or aren't you capable of solving your own problems? The man asked. Stabbing the head won't work, so I'll have to crush it, Tanjiro thought as he looked over at some rocks. He picked one up and continued thinking. I'll probably have to crush his skull completely, which means hitting his head with this rock over and over. I bet he'll suffer. Isn't there any way for me to finish him off with one blow? Tanjiro was faced with a moral dilemma. His kindness was showing. How can you still be emphatic to demons? A demon killed your entire family, Shinazugawa asked. I don't know why. I guess it's because they were once human too. Also, I see no point in dragging out a death, Tanjiro responded softly. How surprising, a child who looks nearly identical to him. He's just as kind and sympathetic, Kokushibo thought. Urokodaki sighed as he smelt the air. This kid isn't going to cut it. He's far too kind and far too indecisive. He stands against a demon, yet the smell of kindness remains. He still has empathy, even for a demon. Jiwoo, this boy will never make it. The demon winced as it awoke from its sleep. I blacked out for a second there. Does that mean my body's dead? I think I'm going to be sick. He looked up at Tanjiro and began speaking. You bastard, I'll kill you. Get over here. I'll devour you, damn it. Get over here where I can reach you, you little brat. Hey. I took too long, Tanjiro thought as he looked at the rising sun. The sun's already coming up. I swear I'm going to enjoy eating you. Before the demon could finish what he was saying, he began burning. The demon screamed. His body was devoured by the light. What a shame, those lower-class demons dying to sunlight. How I pity them, Dauma sighed. Once it was finished, Tanjiro dropped the rock in fear. It only takes that much sunlight to melt him. No wonder Nezuko was hiding. With that thought, Tanjiro started calling out for his sister. He looked around before running into the temple. He sighed as he saw her hiding in the basket with the blanket over her. You're all right, Tanjiro smiled. Hang on. Where's the old guy? Tanjiro approached the man who had buried the dead bodies and was praying for them. He's holding a burial for the people who got killed. He walked closer to the man. Excuse me, Tanjiro said in a soft voice. My name is Seikanji Urokodaki. You're the one Jiwoo Tomioka sent my way, correct? I'm Tanjiro Kamado, and my sister's name is Nezuko, Tanjiro confirmed. Tanjiro, what do you intend to do if your sister eats a human? He asked. Tanjiro paused, thinking. Urokodaki walked to the boy and slapped him. You're too indecisive. You must learn to make decisions quickly. That's why you failed to kill that demon before daybreak. Do you know why it took so long for you to answer my simple question? Because your resolve is too weak. There are two things you must do if your sister eats a human. First, you kill her. Then slit your own belly and die. That's what traveling alongside a demon like your sister means. But you must never allow this to happen. No matter the cost. Your sister taking the life of an innocent person is the one thing that can't happen. Ever. Have I made myself perfectly clear? Committing seppuku, isn't that a bit much? Zenitsu asked. It might seem that way, but it's the only way to atone for his sister eating someone, Urokodaki said. Yes. Very well. I will test whether or not you are fit to become a member of the Demon Slayer Corps. Carry your sister and follow me, Urokodaki said. The scenery changed once more to the both of them running between fields. Urokodaki was farther ahead, and Tanjiro struggled to keep up. He's so fast, Zenitsu said. Actually, he's rather slow. I assume he slowed for Kamado-kun, Tomioka said. Tanjiro was panting hard, as he got lost in thought. So fast. But I thought he was an old man. And still, I can't hear his footsteps at all. Nezuko, the ride may be bumpy, but just hang on. But then, you always did know how to be patient. The screen changed, now showing a younger Nezuko fixing her kimono. Didn't you, Nezuko? Fixing your kimono again, Past Tanjiro asked. That settles it. We'll have to buy you a new one. Past Nezuko argued. No, it's fine, really. This kimono is my favorite. Besides, it's not important. I'd rather feed our brothers and sisters. She let a gentle smile escape as it moved back to Tanjiro running. How sweet of her, wanting to provide for her siblings, Kiria said. I agree, sweetheart, his mother smiled. But please, you should keep your talking down. The last thing we want is for the demons to attack you or your father. Right. Sorry, Kiria said. I swear, I'll turn you back into a human, and then I'm gonna buy you a beautiful kimono. Everything I wasn't able to do for the others, I'll do it all for you. Tanjiro thought as a few tears escaped. I wish me and Aniki were that close, Genya thought. That is very kind of you, Tanjiro, Makio said. It zoomed out showing what a long journey they had. However, it quickly cut to Tanjiro panting hard at Urokodaki's small house. His breath was escaping him. Meanwhile, Urokodaki seemed perfectly fine. Okay, does this mean please tell me this means I passed the test? Tanjiro pleaded, his breath still uneven. Urokodaki opened his door and took off his hair cover. Before speaking, we're just beginning the test. We'll be climbing a mountain. Climbing a mountain, Zenitsu shouted. I wonder if his training is different from when he trained me, and Tomioka wondered. Tanjiro screamed. He laid Nezuko in the small house. She was fast asleep. I promise I'll take care of your sister for you while you're gone. I do appreciate that, sir, Tanjiro said, as he looked back at his new master. The birds chirped as the men ascended the mountain. It was covered in forests and the sun was set. Aw man, I'm so exhausted my legs are starting to buckle, Tanjiro thought as he kept panting. And I'm getting dizzy too. Urokodaki stopped ahead of Tanjiro, turned, and spoke up. Now find your way back to my house at the foot of the mountain. This time I won't wait until daybreak. The fog came and covered Urokodaki, and by the time they moved, he was gone. That's the test. I get it. Because of the fog, he thinks I might get lost. All I have to do is get back by daybreak. No problem. Not with my sense of smell. I've memorized Urokodaki's scent. Oh, how wrong I was, Tanjiro chuckled. What do you mean? Surely it's that straightforward, right? Zenitsu asked. Unfortunately, no. But I'm sure it will show you in a second, Tanjiro said. Tanjiro began running down the mountain, however, it didn't take him long to find out why this was a test. He tripped the first trap and rocks got thrown at him. What the? However, in his state of confusion, he managed to fall into a pit. A tiger pit? Of course, there are traps all over the mountain. That's why this is a test. He triggered another trap and got hit in the head with a wooden log. Crap, crap, crap. If I keep walking into these traps, I'll never make it down the mountain by morning. Not to mention, aside from the traps, the air here is thin on this mountain. A whole lot thinner than the mountain where I grew up. It's no wonder I feel so dizzy, I can't breathe. He kept running though. I hope I can make it. I might pass out. No, I have to make it. Control your breathing, then sniff out all of the traps. Traps. That's 1,000,000 times worse than my training. I would surely die from that, Zenitsu yelled. If that much could kill you, you're unfit to be a member of the Demon Slayer Corps, Takedo said. As Tanjiro began to confuse, a teal-like mist filled the forest. It entered his nose and he shot his eyes open. He began to run with more precision, avoiding the traps way more. He was still stumbling, but he was making his way down. Tanjiro froze in confusion. Shira-san, what is that teal mist? I don't remember mist being there. Ah, that. We took some creative liberties to show your great sense of smell. We also did something similar with breathing styles. Just to add some flair, you'll see what we mean later, Shira responded from an intercom. How interesting. I'm sure we're all going to be looking forward to that, Rengoku said. Yes, got it. Piece of cake, he thought. These traps were set by a human, which means their scent sticks out to me. He still got hit by a trap, however. But I guess that doesn't solve all my problems, because I'm still not athletic enough to dodge every single one of them. I'll make it back no matter what. For Nezuko. Nezuko was shown sleeping. She was gently tucked in by Urokodaki. He watched the door waiting for Tanjiro to make it back. To his surprise, Tanjiro opened the door not much later. He had blood and dirt all over him, but he was alive. I made it back down, Tanjiro said. He was about to pass out. Dear Urokodaki-san, forgive the intrusion. The scene changed from Urokodaki to Tomioka, who delivered a message via Crow and getting ready to meet him. There's a boy headed your way in need of instruction. He wants to be a demon slayer. He was fearless enough to try to attack me unarmed. A demon killed his family, except for his younger sister who has been turned. But I'm certain she will not attack a human. They're different. I can sense something different about these two. The boy has a keen sense of smell, much like yourself. So maybe, just maybe he'll be able to find a way to break through. I'm asking you to train this boy. This may seem like a frivolous request. Please humor me. If I'm not mistaken, this will all make sense one day. Take care of yourself. Yours truly, Jiu Tomioka. Tanjiro passed out in the doorway. The sun was seen rising in the distance. You're now my new student, Tanjiro Kamado, Urokodaki thought. Well, that was quite an episode. I'm glad you got down the mountain safely, Tanjiro, Yubayashiki said. Something clicked in Kacho, so she said, Ni, Tomioka-sen, since you sent Tanjiro-kun to Urokodaki, does that mean he was your former master? Tomioka nodded. He was. I trained in a very similar way. Who cares, Chayako huffed. Let's just continue so we can get out quicker. Very well, the next episode will play. If we keep up the pace, we can take a food break after episode 11, Shiro said. Episode 3 Sabito and Makomo. The episode started with Tanjiro writing in a journal. His kimono was on his futon, while a candle was the only thing illuminating the room. He shut his journal, which had his name on it, and the scene went black as he blew out the candle. He opened a door that led to where Nezuko was still sleeping. Let's go, Urokodaki said after he finished putting on his Haori. Tanjiro shut the door. The back of a Demon Slayer uniform was shown as Urokodaki began explaining how the Corps worked. The Demon Slayer Corp, we number in the hundreds. An organization, completely unrecognized by the government. Since ancient times we have existed to hunt down demons. It zoomed out showing the members of the Corp. The 4 showing the shadows of the Hashiras, minus Tomioka who was fully shown. However, the identity of the Demon Slayer Corps' leader has always remained a mystery. Where are the rest of us? Kenroji asked. Perhaps we aren't shown yet because Kamado-kun doesn't know us, Rengoku suggested. That makes sense. I mean, I didn't even know this brat existed until today, Iguro said. Demons. Their staple food. Humans. They hunt and kill them. It is unclear when and where they first appeared. With incredible physical prowess, wounds heal almost instantly. Flesh completely restores itself. Severed limbs regenerated. Some can shapeshift, and some have other powers. They can only be killed by sunlight or decapitation with a special sword, Urokodaki continued. A demon with 2 horns covered in blood was shown, before moving on to demon slayers who were fighting blood dripping down their heads and uniforms. They fight these demons with their mere mortal bodies. As humans, wounds are slow to heal, and their lost limbs are unable to grow back. Nevertheless, they fight to protect and defend humanity. Boring, Jayako muttered, though I must say that bloodshed is quite the art piece. We better hurry up and get to why this kid is so special, Akaza said. At least he's learning water breathing and not sun breathing. It seems that sun breathing was lost in time. He'll be quite easy to beat, Muzan thought. It changed to Tanjiro running through the woods as Urokodaki gave a monologue. I am a trainer. My job is to teach new swordsmen. There are many other trainers, each one is different. They all educate their own students with their own methods. To complete your training and join the Demon Slayer Corp, you will have to survive the final selection process on Mount Fujikasen, and I decide whether you undertake that challenge or not. Tanjiro continued running through the woods, avoiding traps, and his mind started wandering. As of today, I'm going to start keeping a journal for Nezuko. I'm descending the mountain again today. I'll train so that I can survive through the final selection. Day after day, I made my way down the mountain, and I'm starting to learn how to avoid most of the traps. Because I'm much stronger now, and somehow I've gotten better at picking up subtle scents than I was before. The teal scent mist appeared once more as he continued running. However, knives were flying his way, and he barely avoided them. However, the traps are getting more difficult. It cut to Tanjiro nearly falling into a pit with swords sticking up in it. I'm starting to think he wants me dead. Knives, Zenitsu screamed. I'm very lucky I wasn't trained like that. Urokodaki chuckled. Don't worry, kiddo. I didn't want you dead. I still can't believe Tomioka was trained that way, Kacho said. Tanjiro continued writing in his journal with ink and a brush. He looked over, and Nezuko was still sound asleep. Today I carried my sword with me down the mountain, but it made moving a lot harder. He screamed as a rope caught around his foot, carrying him up into the trees. The weight's throwing me off. I get caught in every trap. Tanjiro was swinging from side to side attempting to get down from the trap. He counted every time he swung his sword. Today I swung my sword. Actually, not just today. That's been every day. As soon as I'm down the mountain, I swing my sword till I feel like my arms will fall off. The second he reached 1,000, Urokodaki demanded 500 more. Tanjiro froze. It changed to night. The owls were out as well. Tanjiro nearly fell asleep as he tried to write in his journal, before inevitably falling asleep, sitting up. Swords are fragile weapons, Urokodaki stated. He stood behind rolled-up mats. That's how my sword training started. Though strong along the blade's edge, it's very weak on the sides. It showed a sword snapping. so obviously you have to apply force where it's strongest. Urokodaki effortlessly sliced the mats. The direction the blade is facing and the direction you swing have to be exactly the same. Otherwise, it'll break. Urokodaki told me, if you ever break your sword, I'll break every bone in your body. Tanjiro thought in a menacing voice. He sounded just like that too. Very ominous. I remember him telling me the same thing. It was scary, Tomioka thought. Tanjiro nearly fell asleep again, but he rubbed his eyes. Nezuko, I have to work hard for her. It was day, once again, and the two of them stood facing each other. Tanjiro had a sword while his master had nothing. However, his vision turned as Urokodaki flipped him over by his feet. Were you a Hashira at one point, Urokodaki-san? Kocho asked. I was. I am a former water Hashira. Whatever, I bet he's ugly under that mask, Daki thought. Today I fell down. I'm training to do it as softly as possible and get up quickly from any position. I raise my sword, charge at Urokodaki, and try to kill him. Meanwhile, he's unarmed and unhanded, but he's ridiculously strong, he thought. He throws me over his shoulder every time, and I roll to the ground. Tanjiro checked on Nezuko, but was met with the same results. Besides this, he talked to her. Nezuko, I'm home. He turned away and went back to writing. Today's lesson was about breathing techniques and fighting forms. Total concentration breathing, Tanjiro asked. That's right. Also, I'm going to teach you how to use all 10 water breathing forms. Start by taking a long, deep breath, so oxygen flows into every cell in your body. This will enhance your healing ability and stabilize, as well as energize your spirit. Now relax your arms and shoulders, but keep your lower body braced. Good, now breathe. Is it wise to have demons here watching how training and breathing techniques work? Amain asked. Normally, I would hesitate. However, it's likely they already know how they work. I also doubt they care about how one person got trained, Yubayashiki said. Tanjiro inhaled sharply and exhaled sharply before getting punched in the gut by his master. Wrong, Urokodaki yelled as Tanjiro fell over in pain. Next, the forms. Tanjiro posed before looking at him asking, Right, how am I doing? All wrong. Tanjiro began to try all kinds of poses, but they were all wrong. Urokodaki punched Tanjiro in the gut repeatedly. I get yelled at for not bracing my stomach and clobbered to a pulp, he thought while hunching over in pain. Next lesson, I had to become one with water. It might seem pointless. However, the way you breathe has a huge impact on how powerful your breathing techniques are, Tomioka stated. If you can't learn how to breathe properly, then there's no chance you'll learn water breathing. Wow, Water Boy speaks, Iguro teased, though he is completely right. Breathing and sword forms are what make up a breathing technique. It's how new breathing styles are formed. Tanjiro looked down at the waterfall before getting kicked in by Urokodaki. As Tanjiro fell, he screamed that he was doing this for Nezuko. He screamed, Ah, Nezuko, I am water. It changed to Nezuko sleeping, Tanjiro starting his monologue once more. As of now, Nezuko has been asleep for 6 months, the entire time. Urokodaki sent for a doctor to come look at her, but he couldn't find anything. So, why are you still sleeping? I'm scared. I'm worried that one morning, I'll wake up and she'll be dead. Every day that thought haunts me. He gently rubbed her forehead. Tanjiro was running once more. Coming down the mountain is even tougher now. I start higher, so the air's even thinner. Tanjiro reached for a tree on its side, but slipped, barely catching the rock's edge. More than a few times, I thought I was going to die. Tanjiro was deflecting several knives that were hurled his way. Every single one was blocked and fell to the ground. That's it. I've taught you all I can, Urokodaki said. I've been on Mount Sujiri for a year, and suddenly this. What, you're done with him? Just like that? Surely that can't be all you can teach him, Aoi said. The rest is all up to you. You have to prove that you're capable of reaching the next level, Urokodaki told an out-of-breath Tanjiro. Come with me, Urokodaki said as he led Tanjiro to a giant boulder. If you can cut this boulder in two, I'll allow you to enter the final selection. Tanjiro looked at the boulder, his master, and then back at the rock. Is that even really possible? Besides, can a sword cut through that? I'm gonna fail. My sword will break. I think I know what's going on. His master doesn't want him to go to the final selection. How interesting, Nakheim thought. So, Urokodaki doesn't want Tanjiro to go to the final selection. What a good observation, Nakheim, Muzan thought after reading her mind. Urokodaki began walking away before Tanjiro yelled to him, "Urokodaki, hang on a second, Urokodaki." However, he never stopped. He left Tanjiro alone with nothing but the boulder and his thoughts. After that day, that was it. He never taught me anything again. Tanjiro unsheathed his sword and faced the rock. He yelled as he struck the boulder, but nothing happened. He tried again and again. From then on, I spent every day practicing what I had learned from Urokodaki. Tanjiro was performing several exercises. All the basics, like holding my breath and staying flexible. It's a good thing I wrote it all down in this journal. He continued to strike at the rock, to no avail. But still, even after 6 more months, I can't cut through the boulder. His hands were covered in calluses. It's frustrating. Not enough. I'm not training hard enough. I've got to do more. More. Unless, am I no good? Will Nezuko die, just like this? I'm about to give up. It's impossible. I could have easily busted that rock for you, Manjiro, Inosuke yelled. Tanjiro hit the boulder with his head and shouted, "Come on, Tanjiro, you can do this." Tanjiro's thoughts were interrupted by a voice. Silence. After that, both Tomioka and Urokodaki froze in place. That voice. No, it can't be. Sabito's dead. How can Tanjiro hear him? Tomioka wondered. Is this how Tanjiro knew Sabito's name? But how can he hear him? Can Tanjiro see dead people? Urokodaki thought. Tanjiro looked on top of the rock and saw a boy. He was wearing a patterned shirt and a white haori. But his most noticeable feature was a mask that covered his face. Ooh, who's this boy? He looks so adorable, Kinroji said. His name is Sabito. He's the one who helped me cut the rock, Tanjiro said. Tomioka looked down at Tanjiro and whispered, How do you know his name? As I said, he's the one who helped me cut the rock. Did you know Sabito, Tomioka-san? It's unseemly to whine, so knock it off, the pink-haired boy said. Who's this guy? He had no scent. And what's with the mask? Tanjiro wondered. No scent? I didn't know a person could have no scent, Tanjiro said. I wonder if this person is no longer alive, Kokushibo wondered. A demon slayer bears his suffering in silence. Isn't that what you want to be? The boys asked as he jumped off the rock, then start acting like it. He swiftly attacked Tanjiro with his wooden sword. Tanjiro blocked it, but proceeded to get kicked in the neck. Tanjiro fell back. You're slow, weak and immature, Sabito said. That's not what I'd call a demon slayer. When this kid showed up you froze. Do you know him? Yubayashiki asked. Don't tell me you're collecting teenagers to be your friend, Kocho chuckled. What do you think you're doing? Tanjiro asked. Trying to figure out what you think you're doing, he responded. What do you mean? I'm training. How long do you plan to keep sitting on your butt? Take a fighting stance. Tanjiro stood up and held his sword. He motioned Tanjiro forward. Come on then, give me your best shot. That kid has guts, challenging you when he only has a wooden sword. How flashy, Yusui said. Tanjiro hesitated. But your sword's made of wood, I could hurt you. Sabito lowered his hand before laughing. How thoughtful of you. I greatly appreciate your concern. But do you honestly think you'd be capable of giving me a scratch? He ran up to Tanjiro quickly, forcing Tanjiro to block the boy's sword. For someone who looks like he's 13, his speed isn't too bad, Kokushibo complimented. Rest assured there's nothing to worry about. I'm far more powerful than you are. I've already cut through my boulder. So, it is possible, Tanjiro thought. He jumped over Tanjiro, opting for the trees instead. He tried attacking from behind, but Tanjiro was able to block with his sword. He went back to the trees, leaping off each one, leaving a trail of blue behind him. Tanjiro tried to follow the boy's movements, however, he couldn't. He ran to the side of Tanjiro, and before Tanjiro could react, he struck. It's refreshing to see the new generation of children holding such power. I'm sure Sabito will make a great addition to the Demon Slayer Corp, Rengoku cheered. Tomioka shrunk himself to hide his face. How is this possible? Sabito is dead. How is he training Tanjiro? Now that I think about it, Tanjiro did see his deceased family when he was knocked out. Can he see dead people? No, that's impossible. Tomioka was conflicted in thought. Tomioka-san, you look like you've seen a ghost. Are you all right? Kocho asked. You obviously haven't learned anything. You haven't mastered any of your training, Sabito said, as Tanjiro attempted to get up. Especially not total concentration breathing. Didn't Urokodaki teach you? He knows Urokodaki, Tanjiro thought. He managed to turn around and face the masked boy. Who is he? I wonder if he was his student. Amain wondered. All you've done with your training is memorize the information. He pointed his sword at Tanjiro. Your body still has no clue what it's supposed to do. Tanjiro managed to stand, only to listen to more of the boy's nitpicking. What the hell have you been up to for the past year and a half? Sabito asked as he began attacking Tanjiro. All of it has to be hammered into your flesh. More. You have to make sure that you never forget any of the secrets Urokodaki taught you. Pound it into the marrow of your bones. He seems like a worthy opponent, Inasuke said. I'm a bit confused. Has Sabito been there the whole time? If so, why hasn't Tanjiro seen him before? Kenroji asked. That's a good question, Mitsuri-san. I hope we'll get an answer later, Kocho said. I'm trying, Tanjiro refuted. I'm giving it all I got every day. Except I'm not getting anywhere. I can't. I don't think I can do it. Sabito's face was shown again as he continued his attacks. You can. Man up. Don't you want to be a demon slayer? There's nowhere else to go but forward. Give it your all. Show me just what you're capable of. Tanjiro charged at Sabito, but to no avail. Sabito dodged his attack and struck Tanjiro in the jaw, causing his body to fling upwards. Tanjiro fell to the ground, passed out. Just then a girl with a similar fox mask walked up. Wow, that kid's actually not bad for his age. Maybe when he's older he'd be a good opponent, Akaza said. He was relaxed on his futon arms behind his head. Who's the girl? Zenitsu asked. Mikomo, Urokodaki thought. I'll leave the rest to you, Sabito said to the girl in the flowery kimono. She nodded her head in affirmation. By the time Tanjiro awoke, it was nightfall. Are you all right? The girl asked. She was sitting next to Tanjiro. Tanjiro sat up quickly, praising Sabito. Please tell me you saw the way that guy hit me. His swing didn't lose an ounce of power. It was just beautiful. I want to be able to do that. What do you think? Is that possible? The girl smiled gently. I'm positive it is, because I'll be there to look after you. She's so cute, Tanjiro thought with a blush on his cheeks. Rengoku laughed. Is that blush on your cheeks, Kamado-kun? It's not like that, I swear. I just thought she was pretty, I promise, Tanjiro tried to explain. Kacho brought her hand to her face. This is just more confusing. Where are these children coming from? Tanjiro-kun clearly didn't know of their existence beforehand. Do you know these children, Urokodaki-san, seeing as how they're on your mountain? I do know them, Urokodaki sighed, but I'm not ready to tell you anything about them. That's fine, Kacho said with a cold smile. I'm sure I'll get my answers if we keep watching. I'm sorry, who are you? Tanjiro asked. The rock was shown before Tanjiro started monologuing. The girl told me her name was Mikomo, and the name of the guy who beat me up was Sabito. Mikomo helped me by pointing out everything I was doing wrong. She corrected my unnecessary movements and all my bad habits. But when I asked why she was helping me and where she came from, she wouldn't say. Mikomo put on a flower crown before speaking. Sabito and I, we love Urokodaki very much. So her name is Mikomo. That's a beautiful name, Dalma said. Before he could continue, blood splattered on the floor. Hantingu cowered in his corner, crying out because of the blood. Shut up, you damn bastard, Akaza said, blood dripping down his arm. Akaza, you always go too far. You need to learn to respect the hierarchy, Kokushibo said. His words sent chills down nearly everyone's spine. All of you shut up. I'm starting to question why the hell you all exist. I want to leave as soon as possible, therefore if there is one more conflict, I will not hesitate to kill all of you, Muzan threatened. She said that a lot, almost like a catchphrase. Tanjiro thought. Both of their masks were shown. Sabito's had a peach-colored scar on the left side, while Mikomo's had 2 flowers and yellow inner ears. She and Sabito weren't siblings. They were orphans, and Urokodaki raised them. We're not alone though, there are lots of other children too. They're always watching you, Tanjiro, Makomo smiled. More children? But how could more children be living in the forests without Tanjiro knowing about them? He said that neither of them had sense. Could they be? No, that's impossible. If they were dead, Tanjiro wouldn't be able to communicate with them, Kacho thought. She is cute, but Makomo is a strange girl, Tanjiro thought as he tilted his head. Her speech is so abstract and dreamy. Makomo brought her hand to her face. With total concentration breathing, your blood circulation accelerates because your heart rate is faster than normal, a diagram was shown before she continued. That causes your body temperature to spike as well, allowing a human to fight with the strength of a demon. So, it's crucial to expand your lung capacity. By introducing lots of oxygen into your bloodstream all at once, your blood gets excited, so your bones and muscles start to heat up and grow stronger. None of that makes sense, Tanjiro thought with a confused expression. So how do I learn that? Tanjiro asked. Train until it kills you, Makomo said with a smile. Because really when you get down to it, there's nothing else you can do. Why is she smiling? Talking about death isn't a time to be smiling, Zenitsu yelled. Could you please stop yelling? Genya yelled back. Wait, you're that kid whose arm I broke, Tanjiro recalled. Heimjima sighed. That was you. Tanjiro fell to the ground once more. Sweat poured down his face onto the ground. So, I trained until my arms and legs wanted to fall off. Until my heart and lungs felt like they were gonna burst. I swung my sword. But still, Sabito kept beating me. Tanjiro thought as it showed Tanjiro getting knocked over by Sabito. It was a snowy night when Tanjiro faced Sabito. 6 months later, that changed. Once again, I challenged him to a duel, but this time his sword was real. It took you 6 months, Sabito said as he drew his sword, but you look like you finally belong. They held their swords in front of them. Makomo stood off to the side. This is the day I win, Tanjiro yelled. A head-to-head battle like this is simple. Whoever is stronger and faster comes out on top. I bet Tanjiro is going to win, Zenitsu said. Are you kidding me? We just saw a montage of Kamado getting pummeled by that masked brat. I doubt it's going to change now, Shinazugawa said. I suppose we'll just have to see, won't we? Yubayashiki said. Tanjiro inhaled sharply. In the blink of an eye, both of the boys had moved. They charged at each other. Sabito's sword was above his head, while Tanjiro's was to his side. It was all over in an instant. Tanjiro struck his sword downwards. Today, in a fraction of a second, for the first time, my blade struck first. Sabito stopped as his mask split in two. He had a matching scar on his cheek, just like the mask. Tanjiro gasped as Sabito let out a gentle smile. Sabito lowered his sword and his blue eyes softened. What? That brat won. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised he nearly killed Waterboy, Shinazugawa said. Ah, Iguro-san, look at him, he's so adorable, Kenroji said. I suppose, but not as cute as you, Iguro whispered. Does anyone else think his smile looks off? Aoi asked. Kanao flipped her coin. It landed on tails, so she spoke. I think it does look off. Almost like a smile of relief. As soon as I'd won, Sabito smiled. He looked happy but also sad. It was a smile of relief. Tanjiro, Makomo said, you did just great. Never forget about this. Keep winning for me, Tanjiro. The next one, too. Once Makomo finished speaking, she disappeared into the mist. Tanjiro looked back to where Sabito was, but he was gone. Mist covered Tanjiro's view, but once it cleared, it was evident that Tanjiro had sliced the rock. What? Where did the boy go? Takedo asked. It seems that rather than the mask he cut the boulder. Perhaps the kids were just figments of his imagination, Enmu suggested. No, that can't be possible. His master admitted to knowing the kids, Kokushibo reminded Enmu. Next thing I knew, Sabito was gone. I was sure of what my sword cut through was his mask. But no, it was the boulder. It zoomed out, showing the rock had been cut in two, perfectly. Tanjiro stood in confusion and awe at what he had done. I do hope that we'll find out where the kids went. Hopefully, they aren't dead, Kacho said. Dead? That's impossible, right? How could Tanjiro talk to dead people? Zenitsu asked. Maybe this is what the non-demon twins were talking about when they said he was special, Hinaki said. Well, let's continue. Hopefully, we get answers, Hinatsuru said. Episode 4 Final Selection. The screen lit up, showing a recap of what happened last time. There's a reason I won because I learned how to detect the opening thread. As soon as I pick up the scent, I'm able to see the thread. It guides me. It showed a thin white thread appearing out of Tanjiro's sword, pulling tight on Sabito's mask. It connects my blade to any opening my enemy leaves me, and it tightens as soon as I see it. An opening thread? That's useful, Tanjiro said quietly. It is, although it's not like I actually see a thread. I assume that Shiro-san and Shira-sen took creative liberties on this as well, Tanjiro said. The wind began to blow as Tanjiro leaped forward, bringing down his sword on Sabito's mask. It quickly draws my blade forward, then I strike. Sabito's mask disappeared and only left the broken boulder. The rope that was around it was cut as well. Urokodaki walked up behind Tanjiro, his footsteps crunching in as he walked. He stopped in front of the rock and stared at it. Urokodaki, Tanjiro said softly. To be honest, I never had any intention of sending you to the final selection, because I didn't want to see any more children die. I was sure you wouldn't be able to cut through this boulder, he said as he rubbed Tanjiro's head. Well done, Tanjiro. You're truly remarkable. I'm very proud. Wait, you never planned on sending Tanjiro to the final selection, Inosuke shouted. I don't get it. Nakame spoke up. I thought it was obvious. It's true, however, Tanjiro earned a spot in the final selection. With his swordsmanship and determination, Urokodaki said. Tanjiro teared up once more, wiping away the happy tears before anyone could see them. His words caused Tanjiro to tear up. They embraced each other gently. Make sure you come back from final selection alive. Your sister and I will be waiting for you. Urokodaki-san, I don't think I ever properly thanked you for taking care of my sister while I went to the final selection. So, thank you, Tanjiro smiled. It was my pleasure, Urokodaki said, so no need to thank me. The video moved back to their house. Urokodaki was making food. That food looks amazing, Kenroji said. There's so much food, what's the deal? Tanjiro asked while his master put some in a bowl. You finished your training, so we're celebrating, he responded. He handed Tanjiro a bowl before saying, Time to eat, don't be shy. Tanjiro smiled as he accepted the food. Thank you, I'm starving. Urokodaki watched as Tanjiro ate, getting lost in thought. Tanjiro, I'm afraid there's nothing more I can do for you. After today you will be facing unimaginable hardships. Your training pales in comparison. But for at least tonight, you can rest well and sleep soundly one last time. He took Tanjiro's empty bowl and refilled it. After dinner, Tanjiro cut his hair. His red locks fell to the futon as he cut. Why are you cutting your hair? Rui asked. Well, since I was joining the Demon Slayer Corp, I knew that I would be camping around a lot. I cut my hair so it'd be easier to manage, Tanjiro responded. Thank God. He looked like a replica of that man. At least now there's some difference, Muzan thought. Hey Tanjiro, Urokodaki said. Tanjiro stopped cutting his hair and turned to his master. Yes? What did you think of the hot pot? Great, I haven't feasted like that in a while. That's one thing I miss when going on long missions. I don't often get to have a nice warm dinner, Yusui said. A growing boy with an appetite like yours will get bigger and stronger, the bigger his meals are. The same applies to demons. Remember that. The more humans a demon has eaten, the more powerful he'll be. So, if they eat a lot, they'll be tough to defeat? That's right. They get stronger, physical traits change, and some learn how to use strange spells. He opened a wardrobe and pulled out another fox mask. You'll be able to tell how many poor souls they've claimed once your sense of smell is even more developed, Urokodaki said as he handed Tanjiro a mask. You can do that. That's so cool, Suma said, but it also sounds scary. Quit being a wimp, Suma, Makio huffed. It was a white mask with red markings. A sun was placed in the right corner, and the eyes and inner ears were red as well. That mask is beautifully carved. It reminds me of my artwork, just less cool, Jayako said. Why are you complimenting me, Upper 5? Urokodaki asked in a stern voice. What can't a demon appreciate someone else's talent in the arts? Geez, he huffed. What's this? It is called a warding mask. It's been enchanted with a protection spell. To keep you from harm, Urokodaki said. Now it makes sense, Tanjiro said as he looked at the mask. It changed to the next morning. The birds were chirping, and Tanjiro was putting on a haori that matched the one his master wore. It was blue with white clouds on it. Tanjiro approached Nezuko, grabbing her hand and promising he'd return. No need to worry about your sister. I'll take good care of her for you, Urokodaki said. Thanks for everything, Tanjiro said before running off. He waved back to his master. Guess I'm off. See you later. Urokodaki waved back as Tanjiro ran off. However, Tanjiro stopped and turned around. Say hi to Sabito and Makomo, Tanjiro said before he continued running. Urokodaki lowered his hand a bit. Huh. Tanjiro, that's impossible. How does he know the names of the dead? It showed the two kids' masks hiding their faces. After he said that, everyone froze. Similar thoughts were in everyone's head. But Kacho was the first to speak. I guess my theory was correct, though this only sparks more questions. How are you able to see dead people? Iguro asked Tanjiro. I'm not sure. I didn't even know they were dead until later. I thought nothing of their disappearance, he responded. Hey Shiro, how was that brat able to see dead kids? Shinjiro asked. Shiro is currently recharging, so I'll try to answer you. From my understanding, Tanjiro was able to see their spirits because of the rope wrapped around the boulder. It is called a Shimenawa, and it draws spirits. And Sabito and Makomo wanted to advise Tanjiro so he could survive the final selection. Does that answer your question? Shira said through the intercom. Yeah, I guess, Shinjiro said. It was nightfall once more, but the wisteria seemed to light up the path. The wisteria is always so pretty, Kacho said, smiling. It must mean that Kamado-kun is near the final selection, Rengoku said. Tanjiro touched the blooming flower. Wisteria, it's all over the place. I thought it was out of season, Tanjiro thought as he walked up a flight of stairs. I remember when I went to final selection. This is making me feel so nostalgic, Kenroji said. When he got to the top, there were around 20 other people. Kanao, Zenitsu, and Genya all got close-ups. Tanjiro continued walking forward. Genya, so he did compete in the final selection. Damn it. Why can't you just leave? Shinazugawa thought. So many people, Tanjiro thought. He jumped when he heard two voices. Good evening. Tonight you've come to enter the Demon Slayer Corps final selection. Thank you for being here, the voices said in unison. They wore matching purple kimonos with a flowery print. The girl with white hair spoke up. Here on Mount Fujiasen, there are several demons that were captured alive by Demon Slayer swordsmen. They are kept here for this event. The wisteria blossoms prevent them from leaving. They bloom on this mountain year-round, and they cover everything from the base to halfway up to the top, the one with black hair said. But the wisteria ends here, so the demons are bound from this point on, and they're very hungry, the white-haired girl continued. In order to complete final selection, you must survive 7 days past the wisteria's protection, the other kid said. Now, your trial begins, they said in unison, as they bowed slightly. Tanjiro looked serious as he went past the wisteria's protection. It didn't take long for demons to come out of hiding. Tanjiro began breathing heavily as he ran around the mountain. Survive, don't think about anything else. I just have to make it through the night, he thought as he hid behind a rock. Once the sun comes up, the demons won't be able to do anything, so that'll be my chance to rest. Which means I need to head east. Make my way to where the sunlight will hit first. That's quite smart, kid, Kokushibo said. Thanks, Tanjiro responded hesitantly. Tanjiro stopped moving and pulled out his sword. I smell a demon, close by. Tanjiro looked around. Soft rustling was heard behind him. Where is it? Where is it coming from? I can't seem to pin it down. Ah, up there, he yelled. A demon fell from above and landed hard on the ground, causing Tanjiro to roll away. Tanjiro quickly recovered, his hand on his sword. Once the dust cleared a bit, the demon laughed. Its tongue flicked. That demon is so ugly, Daki said. And what's with the long tongue? Found you, Tanjiro said. Before Tanjiro could attack, a demon tried to strike him from behind. Tanjiro deflected it with his sword, forcing him to slide farther away from both of them. Damn you, the first demon said as it ran to the other one. Why don't you go find your own snack? This is my turf. Your turf? Oh, go to hell, the other demon yelled. Two already. Can I handle them? Tanjiro wondered. You got this. Remember your training, Urokodaki said. I saw him first, the demon argued. Doesn't matter, the other said. I'll be the first to kill him. They both jumped up attempting to kill Tanjiro. He raised his sword and reflected both of them. Tanjiro jumped back. You're doing a job at dodging. Keep it up, and I'm sure you'll be able to behead both of them with ease, Makio said. You've got this. Calm down and watch closely. Don't forget your training, Tanjiro thought. Haven't tasted human flesh in forever, the second demon shouted. They both charged at Tanjiro once more. Total concentration, water breathing. He inhaled and ran to the demons. I smell the thread. The thread clinked, and water began leaving the tip of his sword as he called his water breathing. Fourth form, striking tide. Whoa, I didn't know we had magical swords, Takedo said. What? There's water coming out of his sword. He can't be a demon because we saw him in the sun. So how is that possible? Genya asked. That didn't happen when I was fighting, Tanjiro said frantically. Shinazugawa sighed. You brats, remember what Snowflake Head said earlier? She added some special effects or some shit like that. He's correct. We added the effects to add some flair to each breathing style, Shira said. How flashy, Yusui shouted. I can't wait for my breathing style to have added flair. Tanjiro thought as he landed on the ground. Both of the demons were decapitated as the water particles disappeared. Tanjiro looked back at their crackling flesh. I did it. I killed demons. I'm getting stronger. He thought as he balled up his fist, tears escaping his eyes. So my training wasn't for nothing. I did master it. Tanjiro walked up to the decaying bodies. Nothing's left behind when a demon's killed with this sword. Not even the bones. Tanjiro began replaying a memory. A demon's weakest at the neck. However, a normal is useless even upon the neck, Urokodaki said. Okay, so how do I kill them? Tanjiro asked. With a demon slayer's katana, forged by a special kind of steel. That's the only weapon that can kill a demon. It's called a Nichiren sword, he responded. The flashback ended, and Tanjiro put up his sword. Rest in peace, Tanjiro prayed, before gagging at the smell and holding his nose. What's that awful smell? Did you just pray for a demon? Rengoku asked. Why would you do that, young Kamado? Well, they were human at one point, right? It seemed like the right thing to do, Rengoku-san, Tanjiro smiled. His heart is so pure. He even hopes that demons will become better people in their next life, Kanata thought happily. A boy screamed as he ran away. What the hell? I didn't sign up for this. What? Tanjiro thought. However, he got his answer, and he hid behind a tree in fear. He controlled his hyperventilation and looked back at the demon. My God, what is that? What demon is that? It seems familiar somehow, Tomioka mumbled. It changed from final selection to the woods. The forest had a bluish tint covering it. Hey Sabito, you think Tanjiro can beat him? Makomo asked. Sabito's mask was whole again as he sat upon the boulder. I don't know. It seems nothing is ever going to be enough. You saw for yourself, didn't you? Sabito said. It went back to the final selection. A boy in a green Haori was running away. He tripped on a root and yelled at the demon. What's this mutated demon doing here? Nobody said anything, he yelled. After that, a green hand crashed on the ground. Another hand held a dead kid, blood dripping out of his eye and mouth. It had veins that looked like they were going to burst. The demon was green all around with several hands. Tanjiro shuddered in fear. The demon raised the boy in the air, before moving two arms to reveal a mouth. Tanjiro and the other boy watched as the mutated demon ate the dead kid. How awful! I hope that the demon gets slain quickly so more people don't get killed, Kacho said. I agree with Kacho. If I was there, I would slay that infernal demon at once in the most flamboyant way possible, Yusui said. Daki scrunched her nose. I thought the last demon was ugly, but this one takes the cake, she turned to Muzan. Muzan-sama, all of these useless demons are giving your blood a bad name. Haimjima began praying for the lost soul. However, many of the upper moons seemed indifferent. Enmu was fanboying over the blood. Swallowed whole, Tanjiro thought in fear. After the demon ate the kid, he seemed to grow bigger. The boy whimpered before getting up and attempting to run. The hand demon noticed and merged some hands to go after the fleeing boy. He grabbed the boy by the ankle and pulled him back, causing the boy to lose his sword. He should have beheaded the demon when he had a chance, Hinetsuru sighed. Tanjiro gripped his sword. Stay strong. Save him. Save him. Save him. You're not powerless anymore. Move it. Tanjiro charged at the demon. Water breathing, second form. Water wheel. Tanjiro cut one of the demon's arms off, saving the boy in the process. The demon looked at Tanjiro's mask. Well, look at that. It's another one of those sweet little foxes, the demon said cheerfully. Another, Tanjiro questioned. Say fox cub, what year? Are we still in Meiji? He asked. Is that demon trying to make small talk with Tanjiro? Hajime asked. How unflamboyant of that demon. You should hurry up and behead it in the flashiest way possible, Yusui said. Tanjiro hesitated but responded, It's the Teisho period. Teisho, the demon repeated, looking around before screaming in anger. Tanjiro and the boy watched it unfold. We've already passed into a new period. Again, and I'm still stuck inside this wisteria prison. Unforgivable. Unforgivable. Damn you, Urokodaki. Damn you, damn you. That demon seems to know you, Urokodaki-san. Do you know it? Rengoku asked. I'm not sure I do. The demon has been mutated beyond recognition. Do you know that demon Tomioka? Urokodaki asked. Tomioka was frozen in fear. That demon, is that the one who... Tomioka-san, are you all right? Kenroji asked. Yeah, I'm fine. I think I know that demon, but I don't want to talk about it, Tomioka said after he cleared his throat, hiding the wobbliness. Tanjiro spoke up. You know Urokodaki? Of course I do. Urokodaki's the one who captured me and brought me here. But that was 47 years ago now. Back when he was still hunting down demons like me. During the Edo period, during the Keijo era, the demon said. No way, Edo period, Tanjiro said. You lie. No demon could ever live that long in here. Besides, all the demons here have only eaten 2 or 3 humans, the boy shouted. They die during final selection. They even end up eating their own kind. That demon is from the Edo period. I knew that demons don't age, but surviving that long is crazy, Zenitsu exclaimed. It's not that big of a surprise. Clearly, demon slayers haven't beheaded him, so he's still alive. That's how it works, Takedo said. And yet I managed to survive all this time. Trapped inside this flowery cage, I've managed to eat at least 50 of you brats, the demon bragged. 50 people. I thought the demons in final selection had only eaten 2 or 3, Zenitsu yelled. When they are first captured, they have only eaten 2 or 3. However, the longer they are stuck in the wisteria, the higher chance they've eaten more people, Yubayashiki said. 50 people, Tanjiro repeated. The demon began holding up hands and counting, 11, 12, 13, that means you're number 14. What are you talking about? Tanjiro asked. The demon giggled. That's how many of Urokodaki's students I've eaten. I promised myself I'd kill every single one of them. You know the ones who stood out to me the most were those 2. Ah yes, the boy's hair was an unusual shade of pink. A scar by his mouth, he was the most powerful of the lot. The other one was a girl who wore a flowery kimono. Small, not much power, but awfully agile. After the demon said that the humans in the room froze, registering what he had said. That was the demon who was killing my students, Urokodaki said. He was full of fury. That's awful. How did he know that they were your students? Makio asked. Tanjiro gasped, his eyes widening as the demon laughed. So they were dead, killed by this demon, but I was with them. Your mask, that's what gives you away as one of Urokodaki's brats, as he continued. Several masks were shown, all containing a defining feature. Easy to spot the texture of one of the masks he has carved. They all match the style of the Tengu mask he wears. He calls them warding masks, right? Except that's how I pick out who to eat. They're all inside my belly. It's as if he's guided them to their deaths. The masks, that's how he knew. I made those masks as a symbol for them, but that's what caused them to get targeted, Urokodaki said. Tears began trickling out of his eyes. When I told that girl, she started crying and fell into a rage. It showed Makomo being ripped limb from limb in shades of red. He continued giggling, but it wasn't long before she lost all control of her movement. I ripped her limb from limb and feasted. Several people looked away when Makomo's death was shown. Hajime prayed for her soul while Tomioka hugged his master. However, many of the demons didn't care. Dauma put his fan over his mouth pretending to be sympathetic. Tanjiro's face was full of rage. He ran at the demon, slicing the arms that were charged at him. He yelled loudly. Subato's voice played in Tanjiro's head. Calm down, Tanjiro. Your breathing is uneven. Stay focused, forget about us. Tanjiro got punched in the side by one of the arms. He flew away, crashing into a tree. He passed out when he hit the ground. Blood dripped from his forehead and his mask shattered. The demon began walking towards Tanjiro. You're on your own, buddy. I'm getting out of here, the other boy thought as he ran away. I'm disappointed in that Slayer. He didn't even attempt to save Tanjiro's life, even though you saved him before, Yubayashiki said. The demon kept walking up to Tanjiro as he laughed. There goes another one of Urokodaki's brats, he laughed. I wonder, how will he feel when another one of his children doesn't make it back home? I wish I could see the look on his face. I bet it's going to be priceless. I wish I could be there. The screen faded to black before a faint voice called out Tanjiro's name. Tanjiro, Tanjiro, Shidru called out, his hands on Tanjiro's face. After that, Tanjiro's eyes opened wide. He rolled out of the way, dodging the attack. The demon looked at Tanjiro surprised. How? How is that possible? How is his dead family talking to him? Hajime asked. It's almost as if his family senses when Tanjiro is in danger and helps him survive, Nishika suggested. That seems plausible, Yubayashiki said. Rui brought a hand to his mouth. A bond. A family bond. She protected him even though she's a demon. I thought that was impressive, but now his whole family is protecting him even though they're dead. I want that bond. If it wasn't for those stupid twins, I'd be able to get it. What's this? He can still move. That means I can have some fun, he said. He released another attack with his hands. Tanjiro deflected a few of the arms and cut some others. He moved through the trees trying to think of a plan. Damn, I can't just cut his arms off. They grow too fast. That's not going to be enough to defeat me, little fox. Then again, not even that pink-haired brat could cut off my head, he laughed. It showed a flashback. Subito was about to cut the demon's neck, but his sword broke, and the demon crushed Subito's head. Once again eyes widened as Subito's death was shown in shades of red. Tomioka jerked away from the screen, not wanting to see his best friend's death once more. Urokodaki bit back a curse. Rengoku shielded his brother's eyes and turned away. Well, that sucks, Akaza said. He even looked like a worthy opponent for the future. Tanjiro stopped running and cut the hand that was following him. There's no way I can just let him go. I won't let another life get sacrificed. No more, I'll take him down. Tanjiro charged at the demon, cutting the arms that tried to attack him. He smelled the air and realized something. Wait a second, underground. He jumped into the air, avoiding the hands that came from under the earth. He jumped. Damn it, how did he know? The demon wondered. No matter, he won't be able to dodge an attack in mid-air. Your good sense of smell saved you, Kenroji said. It's a good thing you have it. The demon formed a massive hand and sent it toward Tanjiro. Tanjiro's eyes widened in fear as it cut back to Subito and Makomo. Do you think he's going to beat Tanjiro too? Makomo asked. His neck is thick. Can it be cut? I can't say whether he'll win or lose today. However, one fact is irrefutable either way. Tanjiro cut through this boulder, the toughest and largest boulder of them all, Subito said. It cuts back to Tanjiro and the hand demon. Tanjiro used his head to make him flip over the arm coming towards him. It rolled down the arm a bit before standing up. He defected it, the demon thought. Tanjiro continued running down the arm as several more mini-arms were released. Total concentration. He inhaled deeply. Water breathing. Tanjiro sliced several arms as he headed towards the demon's neck. He jumped, preparing to strike. I let him get too close, not to worry. My neck is tough. He can't cut through it, the demon thought. First form, Tanjiro thought. As soon as he fails, I'm going to grab his head and crush it, just like I did to the other one, he thought as he released another green hand. However, what the demon failed to realize was that Tanjiro found the opening thread. Tanjiro swung his sword as he screamed, and Tanjiro managed to cut the neck. It showed the killing blow from 3 different angles. Water flew out of Tanjiro's sword as the head began to fall to the ground. Water surface slash, Tanjiro yelled in his head. His face was full of anger. After that the screen went black. "Tanjiro, you did it," Urokodaki exclaimed. "Now all the souls this demon has claimed can be released and rest peacefully," Yubayashiki said. "Thank you for avenging them all, especially Sabito," Tomioka whispered to Tanjiro. "Of course. I'm glad I was able to put the souls to rest," Tanjiro smiled. His smile makes me want to gag. Oh well, I can't wait for his little spirit to be crushed later on, Jayako thought. On to the next episode, Shira said. Episode 5, My Own Steel. The episode started off with a recap of the demon and Tanjiro's fight, ending with the decapitation of the demon. Once the recap was done, it showed a corpse lying in the snow. The image was in black and white. The body had a deep gash on its neck and blood was pooling everywhere. The sounds of blood spurting could be heard as blood splattered on the wall. It zoomed into a broken lantern, the fire consuming it. A demon was seen eating the corpse before looking back. It had the same eyes as the mutated demon. I don't remember this," Tanjiro said. "It's probably a memory of the demon. Some people theorize that when you're dying you go through all your memories in an attempt to avoid death," Kacho said. "That's interesting," Genya mumbled. Urokodaki was seen holding his sword, standing near the first corpse. He wore the same Tengu mask. The demon lunged at Urokodaki, attempting to kill him. However, Urokodaki fought back, blocking the demon's attacks with his sword. The demon leaped high and fell, trying to attack from above. He missed, however, and tumbled in the snow after Urokodaki moved. The demon tried to run away. Blood dripped from his wrist. However, his attempt was futile, as he was driven into a corner. Urokodaki walked up to the demon, following his footsteps that were left in the snow. The demon tried to run once more. Down an alleyway. Urokodaki was seen behind the demon on a rooftop, before the demon could react. Only after turning around, Urokodaki fell at the demon, attacking him. The screen went black. The demon saw Tanjiro as Urokodaki, their attacks identical. "Whoa, our attacks are identical, Urokodaki-san," Tanjiro said. "It's not that surprising. You two were using the same form, so your stances would be identical," Tomioka said. "Urokodaki," the demon thought. Fear fell on his face as he was decapitated by Tanjiro. His head fell to the ground, bumping against a tree. He watched as his body began to disintegrate quickly. No, my body's falling apart and disappearing, and I can't stop it," he thought. Tanjiro walked up to his disintegrating body before putting his sword back. "Damn it. The face of this demon slayer is the last thing I'm ever going to see." Tanjiro faced the demon, sadness plastered on his face. The demon's eyes widened as he thought. Who'd have thought it would come to this? The screen went black and a boy's crying could be heard. A small boy appeared, surrounded by the darkness. "I'm so scared. I'm all alone now," the boy cried, his voice wavering in fear. "Brother, where are you? I want you to hold my hand again, like you always do." "Why?" "Who's that boy?" Yubayashiki said. "Perhaps it's someone that the demon killed," Genya suggested. Tanjiro was seen walking up to the disintegrating corpse. "Why did I do it? Why would I eat my own big brother?" the little boy asked. He raised his head and it revealed the same eyes that the mutated demon had. He spoke again. "Huh? I had a brother? I'd forgotten." "Wait, what? That's the mutated demon," Iguro said. "He killed his own brother. How sad," Rui said. The demon's hand was shown. Tanjiro stood facing it, listening to the crackling of the disappearing flesh. Blood was still dripping down his forehead. "What a sad scent," Tanjiro said. He grabbed the demon's head and gently held onto it. The demon's hand closed around Tanjiro's just as gently. The demon began crying as the rest of his head disappeared. Several eyes widened at Tanjiro's gesture. "Why are you holding that demon's hand? He killed people," Shinazugawa yelled. "Wait, is that demon crying?" Kacho said, surprised. Tanjiro raised the demon's hand to his forehead and spoke. "Please, God, help him." "How can you show sympathy to it?" Tomioka asked. "He was once human, and I just hope that in his next life, he doesn't become a demon again," Tanjiro said. As Tanjiro spoke, the little boy was shown again. But this time there was a light amongst the shadows. The boy stood up and followed the light. The next time this man is reborn, please don't let him turn into a demon again. You're praying for the demon, even though it killed many people, Amane said. I did. I'm not excusing what they've done. However, I do really hope their next life will be better, Tanjiro reasoned. That child. Yoriichi, I see you in him. It's terrifying, Kokushibo thought. Muzan glared at Kokushibo as if to say, don't bring up his name. The boy ran up to his older brother, who was holding a lantern. Brother, the boy called out. His brother turned to him as his younger brother kept calling for him. Brother, wait up. Can you please hold my hand? He asked. You scaredy cat. You're hopeless, you know that, his brother said. The humans in the room watched as the demon turned back into a human. The demons were surprised as well, shocked that the demon remembered its past. Tanjiro spoke softly. I hope his brother forgives him. What the fuck is this? Are you trying to make us feel bad for a man-eating demon? Shinjiro yelled. They both walked together to a house that was dimly lit. The frogs were croaking and everything. However, it went back to Tanjiro holding the crumbling hand on the demon until it completely vanished. Tanjiro looked up as it showed all of Urokodaki's students the demon had killed. Subito, Makomo, and all the others whose lives were taken by this demon. It's over, you can rest now, Tanjiro thought. One by one all the souls left. Finally, you're going home as promised. Back to Mount Sajiri, if only as souls. Makomo was the last to leave, as it showed Urokodaki sitting on the floor, and you're going back to Urokodaki. If I'd failed, that's where my soul would have gone too. Thank you, Tanjiro, for avenging all of my students, Urokodaki said. It's no problem, I'm glad I could avenge them as well, Tanjiro said. This is so boring. I don't care about all this friendship shit. I want to go back to my family, Rui thought. Sadly, the peace wasn't long-lived. Later in final selection, Tanjiro was getting chased by a demon. Tanjiro slid down some mud as rain fell from the sky. The demon bashed its head against the brambles. Tanjiro held up his sword. I've got a question, Tanjiro said. Once someone's been turned into a demon, how do they change back? The demon, however, didn't answer. It was too fixated on killing him. Once it broke through the branches, it went for Tanjiro. Tanjiro swiftly cut off the approaching demon's head. It vanished almost instantly. Tanjiro looked back, sad he didn't get an answer. More demons headed Tanjiro's way. Someone please, tell me, how do I turn Nezuko back? Tanjiro sliced off the demons' heads once more. Did you really think that any of them would respond to you? Takedo asked. Well, I had some hope. But now I know that I was too naive, Tanjiro said. He ran through the forest. His breathing was heavy. After he ran for a bit, he came across a purple ground. He was covered in dirt and the blood was still on his forehead from earlier. He smelled the air around him before looking up at all the wisteria trees around him. That's wisteria, he mumbled to himself. I made it. He began walking down the path, wisteria trees on both sides of him. By the time he made it back, it was already day. Only 4 people were there. Only 4 of us. Tanjiro thought as he looked at the other survivors. We started with over 20. Tanjiro's memory recalled the boy he had saved. So he didn't make it. Namu Amitabutsu, Hajime said. Hold on, something isn't right, Tanjiro said as he turned to Inosuke. Did you go to the final selection as well? Inosuke laughed. You bet I did. I beat all of you losers by being the first one up and the first one down. He's gone, all because I blacked out. I couldn't save him, Tanjiro said softly. He looked at the ground. Bandages were around his wound. Don't be disappointed. You did as much as you could, Makio said. Yeah, he ran away. There was no way you could have protected him, Rengoku said. You're right, Tanjiro said. I'm gonna die. I'm done for, a boy said. Tanjiro looked over at him as he continued speaking. I've survived for now, but soon enough, dead. Welcome back, everyone, the siblings said in unison. They walked in from opposite sides, still wearing matching kimonos. And congratulations, the white-haired guide said. We're pleased to see you safe, the other one followed up. So I made it back alive. What do I do now? The boy with the mohawk asked. Where's my sword? Genya, be patient, Hajime said. Genya looked at the ground. He said, Sorry. Patience, we must first issue you all uniforms, one of the guides said. We'll start by taking your measurements. Next, your rank will be engraved on the back of your hand. For your reference, there are 10 ranks in total, the black-haired guide said. The guides alternated saying each rank starting with Kino and ending with Mizunoto. You all start at Mizunoto. This is the lowest rank in the Demon Slayer Corps, one of the guides said. And our swords, the boy pressed. In a moment, you will be given the chance to select the ore that will be used to forge your swords. However, it will be 10 to 15 days before the weapons are ready for you. Genya rolled his eyes and groaned. Ugh, really? But first, the white-haired guide said as she clapped her hands. Several crows cawed as they went to their new owners. I remember getting my crow. It was so exciting, Rengoku said. Now that you're demon slayers, you must be assigned your own Kasugai crow, the other guide said. We get crows then, Tanjiro said. What for? The Kasugai crows are primarily used to facilitate communication, the first guide said. Kanao was shown gently looking at her crow, while Zenitsu looked at his bird confused. Isn't that a sparrow? Shinosugawa asked. It is. Zenitsu's trainer informed me of his strong hearing capabilities. So, rather than a crow, we gave him a sparrow, Yubayashiki said. But how is he supposed to communicate with a sparrow? I don't think they can talk. Yushiro wondered, still hiding behind his blood demon art. Wait, crows? Isn't this a sparrow? He asked. Genya shouted, causing the sparrow and Zenitsu to jump. I don't need this crap. He jerked his arm, making his crow get off. He growled as he walked up to their guides while Tanjiro watched. Who the hell cares about some stupid crow? Genya continued to shout. He roughly grabbed the white-haired girl's head like a rag doll. I want my sword right now. Give it to me before I get angry. The color-changing katana. I want it now, do you hear me? Genya, I don't appreciate how you are treating my child. Please refrain from doing that again, Yubayashiki said. Sorry, he said softly as he clutched his broken arm. Genya was interrupted by a hand firmly placed on his arm. He looked at Tanjiro confused. Take your hand off her, or I'll break your arm. Now, Tanjiro demanded firmly. I still can't believe that you actually broke his arm, Zenitsu said. Talk about the worst first meeting, Aoi said. Zenitsu stammered as he watched the whole thing unfold. Who the hell are you? Genya asked. What do I do? Zenitsu wailed. Give it your best shot, Genya challenged. Unfortunately, Tanjiro took him up on it. Tanjiro inhaled as his grin got tighter. Genya looked scared and confused. It wasn't long before everyone could hear Genya's arm break. Zenitsu gasped, while Kanao stood there unbothered. Genya backed away, clutching his broken arm. Tanjiro stood in front of the child, protecting her. Damn, you actually broke his arm, Enmu said. Tanjiro looked at Genya, who was 4 people away. I'm sorry I broke your arm. Whatever, just don't expect us to be friends now, just because you apologized, Genya scoffed. Are you finished chatting with each other? The second guide asked. A cloth was pulled off a table, revealing several types of ores. Sadly, they all looked the same. The black-haired guide moved out of the way, allowing the newly appointed slayer to pick their ores. Now the time has come. Please select an ore to use for your sword, the second guide said. The steel you will use to protect yourself and to annihilate countless demons will be that of your own choosing. As the guide spoke, it showed each of the survivors. Genya and Tanjiro were surprised to see the ores. Kanao was busy holding a butterfly, and Zenitsu was scared. Isn't that your Tsugoku? Kacho-san, Suma asked. Yes, she is. That's Kanao, Kocho responded. I'm gonna be dead soon anyway. Probably, Zenitsu said. His face and Haori were covered in dirt. Don't be so pessimistic. You never know what is planned for you in the future, Kacho said. Zenitsu got flustered before speaking. You really mean that? All 4 of them walked up to the table, stood in front of the ores. They want us to choose, but how are we supposed to pick one? Tanjiro wondered. I've never even laid eyes on ore, and I can't tell the difference between any of them. I don't have a clue what to pick, Genya grumbled. Tanjiro looked back at the ore and slightly gasped. He began to smell the air surrounding the ores, before moving closer to the table to pick his ore. Tanjiro reached the table and went for an ore. However, nobody could see which one it was, because it cut to a crow wearing a purple scarf. Oh, dang it. I wanted to see which ore he was going to choose, Yusui said. The crow looked around before a man wearing a mainly white haori spoke up. Really? 5 of them managed to survive. That's excellent. The number of my children continues to grow. What kinds of swordsmen will they be? Muzin looked at the surroundings, trying to narrow down where the Yubayashikis were staying. However, little information was found before the scenery changed. It became dusk. The sky was shades of yellow and orange. Tanjiro was walking down the path between 2 fields. He had a white back around his shoulder, and he needed a walking stick to move. He was barely able to take any steps, but he continued on. Perhaps we should have sent a Kakushi to make sure he made it back safely, Amane sighed. But if we did that, they'd find Nezuko, Yubayashiki said. I'm so naive. And a fool, he thought before it cut to a flashback. I couldn't even get a demon to talk to me. All any of them wanted to do was kill me. Oh, Nezuko, I'm sorry, Tanjiro said. It showed Nezuko back when she was a human. I'm no closer to finding a cure, to making her human again. Tanjiro collapsed on the ground. My uniform feels heavy. I want to get home, but every part of me hurts. Tanjiro got back up and kept pushing forward. I should have gone to get him, Urokodaki thought, sighing at the sight. It was night by the time Tanjiro made it back to Urokodaki's house. His breathing was heavy and his whole body ached. I made it. Nezuko, Urokodaki, Tanjiro said softly. Tanjiro's eyes opened wide as he heard a loud noise. Nezuko was finally awake, and she kicked the door down. Nezuko walked out of the house. Your sister, she's finally awake, Sanjuro said happily. Wait, was she really asleep for 2 whole years? I thought you were exaggerating, Shinazugawa said. Tanjiro dropped his stick in surprise. Ah, Nezuko, it's you. You're awake. The siblings ran towards each other. Tanjiro called out Nezuko's name, before falling to the ground in exhaustion. Nezuko continued running up to him and embraced him with a warm hug. Tears immediately left Tanjiro's eyes as he sobbed. Temo smiled and thought, how cute. I wish that all demons could live in harmony with humans. Perhaps I can make a cure by researching Nezuko's blood. Lady Temo always looks so lovely, Yushiro thought. Why'd you do that? Why'd you have to sleep for so long? I thought you were never going to wake up, Tanjiro sobbed. It showed Urokodaki as Tanjiro continued sobbing. I was afraid you were gonna die. How is their bond so whole? There doesn't seem to be a drop of fear. Why isn't she killing him? I need to know, Rui thought. Suma nearly burst into tears before saying, this is so cute. I agree. I'm forcing myself not to cry, Kenroji said. Urokodaki dropped the wood he was holding and walked up to the siblings. He wrapped his arms around their heads. You're here. You came back to us alive, Urokodaki said, tears falling out of his eyes. I truly am so proud of you for passing final selection, Urokodaki said. I couldn't have done it without the training you gave me, Tanjiro said, or without Sabito and Makomo. The 3 of them stayed huddled up for a bit, until it changed to showing the house. All was quiet minus the birds. A fire was set up in the house. Tanjiro and Urokodaki sat across from each other. You did it. You were able to kill that mutated demon, Urokodaki said. Yes, Tanjiro confirmed. Urokodaki lowered his head. Then it's over. I'm truly impressed that you made it back. Thanks. You should know, there are different kinds of demons. The blood demon art is a special spell that some use to give them abilities. You may end up having to face some of them in the near future as well, and fighting against supernatural abilities will be more difficult than anything you've done. Still, Tanjiro, I have no doubt that you'll be just fine, Urokodaki informed. In my experience, most demons have a blood demon art, Kocho said. Tanjiro's eyes widened before he spoke, right. So, it seems like Nezuko is a whole lot different from other demons. Do you think that's because of this bloody art thingy then? No, I think it's something else. I wouldn't consider that an example of a blood demon art, he responded. Nezuko was shown sleeping once again. It changed to Tanjiro looking over Nezuko as Urokodaki's words rang in his head. This is only a guess, but I believe that Nezuko can recover her strength by sleeping instead of consuming human flesh like other demons do. How interesting. A demon who sleeps rather than eating flesh, Kocho said. I didn't know that was possible. Did you Muzan-sama? Dauma asked, cheerfully. Dauma, shut up. I'm trying to focus, Muzan demanded. How did she break free from my curse? I'm trying to read her mind, but I can't. What is going on? He wondered. Tanjiro smiled before crossing his arms. Don't worry, I'll protect you, Nezuko. Tanjiro thought before falling asleep. It changed today as kanji appeared on the screen saying 15 days later. A swordsmith walked up the mountain. He wore a yellow and gold hiyori with a sun pattern. His hat had wind chimes as well. Tanjiro stood out front waiting for the swordsmith. Wow, we're already to the present, Tanjiro said. But who's that person with the sun-printed hiyori? If I'm not mistaken, that's Hagenzuka. He's probably your swordsmith, Urokodaki said. Hi there, Tanjiro said hesitantly. My name is Hagenzuka, the swordsmith said quickly. I've forged Tanjiro Kamado's sword. I'm here to deliver it. Oh, Tanjiro bowed before talking again. Sorry, I'm Tanjiro Kamado. Come in. Hagenzuka ignored Tanjiro and he grabbed his sword. This is a Nichiren sword. I forged it myself. Do you want to come in, have some? Tanjiro asked before getting interrupted. The materials for this kind of sword only come from the mountain closest to the sun. Made of scarlet iron sand and scarlet ore. Unique, they produce steel that can absorb sunlight, Hagenzuka said as he pointed at the sun. The swords can absorb sunlight? That's so cool, Tanjiro said. Yes, that is how the sword is able to kill demons, Yubayashiki said. Wow, really? Tanjiro said, full of confusion. Inside, Nezuko was hiding under the blanket in the next room as they talked. Aw, Nezuko-chan is so cute, Kenroji thought. Mount Yoko is bathed in sunlight all day. Never a cloud in the sky, Hagenzuka said. Mount Yoko, you say? I suppose that's useful information, Muzan thought. The man still refuses to listen to a word anyone else says, Urokodaki said. Tanjiro tried to get a word in, but he was promptly ignored. Hagenzuka turned around and faced Tanjiro. He wore a pink mask that covered his entire face. Ah, what's with the creepy mask? Zenitsu screamed. They wear the masks to preserve their identities. I thought it was obvious, Kiriya said. A clown mask, Tanjiro said. Hagenzuka grinned before asking, Hey, you're a child of brightness, aren't you? Well, isn't that lucky? No, my parents' names were Tanjiro and Kai, Tanjiro corrected. That's not what I mean, he said as he pointed to Tanjiro's hair. You know how your hair and eyes have a reddish hue to them? When a family who works with fire has a child like you, it's considered lucky and a cause for celebration. A red blade? But Tanjiro uses water breathing. Won't his sword be blue? Tomioka muttered. Is it really? I had no idea, Tanjiro said, muffled, due to Hagenzuka poking his cheek. That means there's a good chance this sword will turn red. Right, Urokodaki, he said, before going inside with Tanjiro. Yes, Urokodaki responded from inside. Tanjiro held on to the sword. The sheath matched his temporary hiyori. Both of the men watched Tanjiro. Hagenzuka flailed his hands around. Come on, draw it already. Nichiren swords are also referred to as color-changing katanas, because depending on the bearer they change color. What color do you think I'll get, Urokodaki? Tanjiro asked. Most people who use water breathing end up with a blue sword. However, Hagenzuka seems set on a red sword. I suppose we'll just have to see, Urokodaki responded. So far this reacting, if that's what those odd twins called it, has been useless, Akaza thought as he sighed. I wonder if he'll get the same color sword as him. Seeing as how similar they are, I wouldn't be surprised, Kokushibo thought. With that, Tanjiro looked down at his sword. He unsheathed it slowly. The metal started as a silver color. Tanjiro was confused for a moment but gasped when it changed into black. The men sat in shock. Black, Hagenzuka shouted. A black blade, Kacho said. How interesting. It's the same as that man. Kokushibo and Muzan thought in sync. That's interesting, Urokodaki said. Why? Does turning black mean something bad? Is it unlucky? Tanjiro asked frantically. Is having a black blade bad? Tanjiro asked. Not necessarily. Although, I've never seen a Hashira with a black blade. It's rumored that they don't know what breathing style to master, Rengoku said. No. It's just that it's a little usual. You don't see it often. It's pitch black, Urokodaki reassured. Meanwhile, Hagenzuka was trying not to blow a fuse, but it was futile. And here I was really hoping to see a sword turn bright red. Damn it, he shouted. He charged at Tanjiro, wrapping himself around him. Ouch. Hey, let go. Please stop. Oh, how old are you anyway? Tanjiro said in pain. I'm 37, Hagenzuka replied. 37? He's younger than most sword makers, Iguro said. It showed outside. A crow flew into the house. Tanjiro Kamado, I bring you orders, the crow said. You're about to get your first mission, Tanjiro. I hope you are ready, Amane said. I'll do my best, Tanjiro responded firmly. Huh? It can talk, Tanjiro asked as he held back Hagenzuka's arm. You must go to a town northwest of here. And hurry, young girls are disappearing, the crow continued. How disgusting, Akaza muttered. It showed a glimpse of the town. 2 people were walking down the street at night. They were laughing together. However, when the man went to check on the girl, she was gone. He looked around, but she was nowhere to be seen. Night after night, at least one of them vanishes. You must hunt down the demon responsible and destroy it. Tanjiro Kamado, prepare yourself well. This is your first assignment as a member of the Demon Slayer Corp, the crow said. As it talked, it showed all the people in the house. All right, it's time, Tanjiro clutched his sword tighter. How can you be so confident, Tanjiro? Zenitsu asked. How are you so sure you won't die? I think it has to do with the fact that my drive to heal Nezuko pushes me forward. My goal leaves no room for doubting my skills. Does that answer your question? Tanjiro said. Before Zenitsu could respond, Inosuke shouted, I could kill that demon for you, Manjiro. I'll kill way more demons than you. The room went silent as a noise was heard. A machine whirled on. It was followed by a notification by a company called Remise Robotics. Is everyone ready to continue? Shiro asked. Everyone responded yes in one way or another, so the play button was pressed, and the next episode began to play. Episode 6, Swordsman Accompanying a Demon. It was later that day. Tanjiro put on his uniform, which read Destroy on the back. He put on his checkered Haori and faced Urokodaki. Are you finished changing? Urokodaki asked. Yes, Tanjiro replied. Urokodaki nodded as Nezuko shuffled to the front of the blanket. She made a noise as she looked at her brother. Tanjiro, now that you have officially become a Demon Slayer swordsman, I would like to explain a few things. Right. First, the Demon Slayer Corp uniform you're wearing is made with a special kind of fiber. It's lightweight, water-resistant, and non-flammable. A low-level demon's fangs and talons are incapable of penetrating that uniform. Tanjiro clutched the uniform. He said, It's that strong? Impressive, HM. Now, as for that Nichiren sword, its color varies from owner to owner, and each hue has its own unique traits. However, there aren't many demon slayers with black blades, so little is known about them. Some believe they're a bad omen, Urokodaki continued. What does that mean, bad omen? How so? Tanjiro asked. Black blades are rumored to only be wielded by swordsmen who have little chance of going very far, Urokodaki said. Tanjiro smiled. Oh well, I don't care if I'm destined for greatness, because no matter what I'll turn Nezuko back. I really hope I can find a demon with some knowledge of how to turn Nezuko back, Tanjiro said. Nezuko was still hiding under the blankets. Nezuko-chan is so cute, Zenitsu thought. Yes, you will, Urokodaki agreed. I have no doubt you'll make that happen. Thank you. One last thing, Urokodaki said as he presented a box to Tanjiro. Here, a box to carry your sister during the day. Built from a very light wood called Kirakumo cedar. It's been coated in rock lacquer to reinforce the exterior and make it even more durable. That box is exactly what I needed. Thank you so much, Urokodaki, Tanjiro said, smiling widely. It's the least I could give you before your first assignment as a demon slayer, Urokodaki said. Thanks, Urokodaki. Oh wow, you weren't kidding. It is light, Tanjiro said. He walked up to Nezuko and placed the box in front of her. He said, Nezuko, hop in for a ride. Pretty please. Nezuko moved to the front of the blanket and back before deciding to go into the box. Nezuko, from now on we'll always be together, Tanjiro said as he shut the door behind her. It changed to both the humans standing outside Urokodaki's house. Okay, I'm off, Tanjiro said. Urokodaki walked up to Tanjiro and touched his shoulder. Before you go, Urokodaki said as he walked up to Tanjiro. He buttoned the button closest to Tanjiro's chin and fixed his strap, before nodding. Tanjiro waved goodbye before leaving the mountain. He was guided by his crow. He walked between fields. Nezuko, how you doing? Tanjiro asked as he continued walking. Nezuko? I assume she's asleep again, Urokodaki said. Let's hope she doesn't sleep for another 2 years, Hajime said. It's doubtful. I believe she only slept that long because of the injuries she got from Tomioka-san, and the amount of energy she lost when turning, Kacho said. After he called out Nezuko's name, he recalled what Urokodaki had said. This is only a guess, but I believe that Nezuko can recover strength by sleeping instead of consuming human flesh as other demons do. Sleeping rather than eating people. Nezuko-chan really is a special case, Kenroji said. Tanjiro continued to walk, assuming that Nezuko was asleep. Okay, rest up Nezuko, he said. Later that day he arrived at the town. He crossed a wooden bridge. There were several boats sailing. Wow, look at the town. It's so big, Inosuke exclaimed. I disagree, this isn't that big. I've been to bigger and flashier cities, Yusui said. Well, let's all pray for Kamado-kun's success on his first mission, Rengoku said. A town to the northwest. Looks like I found it, Tanjiro said. As he began to continue crossing the bridge, it spanned out showing the large town. The paths were made of dirt, and every house had a bluish-gray roof. Tanjiro walked through the bustling streets. Someone's feet were shown. He was walking slowly. It showed his face, covered in bruises. He looked as if he was staring into space, lost in despair. Isn't that the man we saw earlier? Kocho asked. He looks sad. I hope the girl he was with is okay, Makio sighed. I doubt it, and look at the bruises on his face, Hinetsuru pointed out. Oh look, there's Kazumi. Poor thing, he doesn't look good, a woman said to her friend. Tanjiro saw the man walking on the other side of the road, listening to the two women's gossip. Well, he was right next to Satoko when she was taken, the other woman said. This caused Tanjiro to stop in his tracks. However, he continued walking after a few moments. It's happening every night. It's very creepy, a man in a gray yukata said. A girl disappearing every night. Just how many people has this demon consumed? Zenitsu loudly asked. That doesn't matter. You just have to kill it to avenge all the lives it took, Kacho said, a vein becoming prominent. Tragic, dreadful, a woman responded. As soon as night falls, another girl will be abducted, another woman continued. Well, it's a good thing you're there to end the reign of terror, Kamado-kun, Rengoku yelled. I'll do my best. I hope it won't be too difficult, Tanjiro said. Tanjiro turned before running up to Kazumi. Mr. Kazumi, Tanjiro called out. Kazumi stopped and turned to face Tanjiro. He looked at Tanjiro's uniform before Tanjiro spoke. I want to hear what happened last night from you, Tanjiro said. That's a good idea. Finding out as much information about the demon you are going to face is extremely beneficial, Kenroji said. I agree. However, I doubt this person knows much. After all, the girl just vanished, and I doubt he knows about demons, Aguro pointed out. Kazumi gasped slightly before taking Tanjiro to where he and Satoko were last. It was an alleyway, with fencing on both sides. This is where Satoko vanished, Kazumi said, but I'm sure you don't believe me. I know that feeling too well, Tomioka thought. Tanjiro stopped looking around and turned to Kazumi. He said, I do believe you. I'm here to help. Now let's see. Tanjiro fell to the ground and started smelling. Kazumi looked surprised at Tanjiro's actions. Tanjiro smelled the ground, and everything turned to black and blue. A trail of red covered the ground and walls. Why are you doing that? That looks so embarrassing, Genya said. It might look embarrassing. However, my sense of smell is really good. So, I want to use it to its fullest, Tanjiro explained. In that case, I assume that red mist is the demon's scent then, Takedo asked. Probably, Tanjiro smiled. There's still a faint scent of the demon here, Tanjiro thought as the scent waved around. But it's uneven. Something's off. Who is this kid anyway? Kazumi wondered. He frowned as he touched his bruised cheek. He recalled the events that led up to his injury. The screen faded to black as a loud thump could be heard. After that, what sounded like a pot broke. "How dare you?" a man yelled. He was holding on to a familiar Haori. "Why is he shouting?" Suma asked. "I have a feeling that this is the father of the girl who was taken by a demon," Hinetsuru sighed. "I will pray for them all," Hanjima said, clasping his hands together. It showed Kazumi, blood running out of his nose. A bruise was already forming near his eye. His face was covered in fear. His wife held on to her husband's arm in fear. "That poor man. I hope that things get better for him," Makio said. "Is the family stupid? It was clearly a demon that killed their daughter, not him," Takedo said. "Remember Muakairo, most people don't believe in demons. So of course they aren't going to blame what they think is fictitious," Yubayashiki said. "This reminds me of," Shinazugawa began thinking. "You lost her? You bastard," the man continued to scream. "That's enough, honey, please stop," the woman cried. The man held back another punch. Meanwhile, Kazumi looked over at a dresser, where Satako's bow was draped. Kazumi shuddered at the memory. The townsfolk were seen momentarily, before going back to Tanjiro, who was still following the scent on the ground. Kazumi stood behind him. Tanjiro smelled a lot of things around the village, staying on the ground the entire time. The townsfolk murmured about Tanjiro's weirdness while Kazumi stood back. "How can you do that with everyone watching you?" Akaza asked. "Well, I don't care if they think I'm weird. All I care about is killing the demon, who is kidnapping the girls of the town," Tanjiro said. "It's quite noble that you don't care about anything but the task at hand, Kamado-kun," Rengoku said. The ground appeared in red as Tanjiro continued, only his legs were shown. After him, Kazumi reluctantly followed. It was now sunset, but the men continued looking. "I want you to believe me, she really did just vanish," Kazumi said. "The pain he must feel with no one believing him, how sad," Kenroji frowned. "At least Kamado-kun is there now to slay the demon," Hanjima said. Tanjiro faced Kazumi saying, "I know. That's why I came here, so I'll stop this." The sun completely set, but Tanjiro kept sniffing around. "Good. Now that the sun has set, the demon should be easier to find," Hinaki said. "Let's just hope that he doesn't manage to kill another person before Kamado-kun finds him," Kenroji said. "Are you really going to keep going?" Kazumi asked. "Yes," Tanjiro responded firmly. "Come on, it's getting late. I'm flattered that you're so concerned about this, but shouldn't you rest? Pick it up again in the morning," Kazumi pleaded. "He needs to leave. If he follows you to the demon, he runs the risk of becoming a liability," Shinazugawa said. "I agree. If he sees the demon, it could use him as a hostage," Iguro said. "And if that happens, killing the demon could become more difficult." Tanjiro dropped back to the ground before responding. "They're only active at night. So, there's no time for rest. Got something? There's a new scent in the area. It's nearby. It won't be long now." "Wait a second. Don't tell me you're A. Are you A?" Kazumi began. "Oh, does he know about the Demon Slayer Corps?" Kocho asked. "If he does, he should know to go home," Shinazugawa scoffed. It cut from the men to a house. Ominous music played. "What? Why did it switch to a random house?" Shinjiro asked. "I don't know, but I have a bad feeling," Rengoku frowned. "It's terrifying. I want you to stay indoors, where you'll be safe," a woman's voice said. "I will, mother." "Good night, I'm going to bed," a younger voice responded. The young girl moved the door and began walking down a hallway. She wore a green kimono. However, what she didn't notice was a black puddle was following her. It showed its vision for a moment. The gurgling sound followed the girl into her room. She got changed and then laid down on her futon. "What on earth is that black puddle?" Zenitsu asked. "I guess that's the demon I need to kill," Tanjiro said, looking closer at the screen for any clues that might help him in the future. "I wonder what happened to the girls who disappeared. I hope they're all right," she said, before closing her eyes. The black puddle was seen around her futon. It then went around her head and pillow. Arms came out from it and wrapped around the girl, preventing her from screaming. The girl awoke and tried to struggle, but it was futile, as her hand reached up before her entire body got submerged in the puddle. "I can't believe that demon is attacking helpless girls," Hinetsuru said, turning away from the demon in disgust. That's horrifying, Aoi said, to be kidnapped in such a way. Ah, what a shame, that demon ate the girl before I could. How sad, Dalma said. Dalma, shut up. Before I hit you again, Akaza threatened. It moved back to Tanjiro and Kazumi. Tanjiro raised his body quickly before running towards the new smell. Hey, wait, where are you going? Kazumi asked, confused by the panic. So fast? He's fast, but will he be fast enough to save the girl? Yushiro wondered. The scent got stronger, the demons active, Tanjiro informed, as he continued running quickly. He jumped onto a roof. How do you do that? He said, demon. Kazumi thought as he ran behind Tanjiro. Demon? Then he's... Tanjiro jumped down from the roof and landed in an alleyway. He frantically looked around for the demon, but nothing was there. It seems that the demon is still hiding. How pathetic, Iguro scoffed. This is it. They're right here, Tanjiro thought as he drew his sword. 2 cents, 1 demon, 1 human girl. I don't see them. He began to walk around 2 different colored mists, one yellow and the other red. He continued thinking. Although the scent is strongest right here. Tanjiro pushed his sword into the ground. A body floated to the top. Tanjiro gasped as he grabbed the girl out of the puddle. Part of her kimono was torn from the demon trying to pull her back. Tanjiro leaped back, girl still in his arms. Now he could see the demon. I hope I wasn't too late, Tanjiro thought. I hope the girl is all right, Hinetsuru said. From what I can see, she's still breathing, Kocho said. Boring. I want to see blood. Hopefully, this fight is full of bloodshed, Enmu thought. The demon has powers, Tanjiro thought in shock. Urokodaki's voice rang in Tanjiro's mind as it showed his memories. The blood demon art is a special spell that some use to give them abilities. You may end up having to face some of them in the near future as well. The cut on the demon's arm healed almost immediately. What did you do with the girls you kidnapped? Tanjiro yelled. The demon had bluish-purple hair. Its skin was a light gray, while its eyes were red and no pupils could be seen. It began grinding its teeth. Zenitsu flinched at the loud noise before covering his ears. Several followed him. That's so unflashy, Yusui said as he covered his ears. There are some things I want to know, Tanjiro demanded, while the demon continued grinding its teeth. It went back into its swamp. At that moment Kazumi approached the 2 people. Who was that? He asked. I need your help. Hold her for me. And stay close. As long as you do that, I can protect you, Tanjiro said. With 1 non-slayer and 1 unconscious girl, there's no way you can unleash the full potential of water breathing, Tomioka said. Talking that way is so unflashy. Have some faith in him, Yusui said. I was speaking the truth, Tomioka thought. Tanjiro walked forward while Kazumi held the girl. He began thinking. The ground, the wall. I bet it can come from just about anywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if it could appear out of thin air. Doesn't matter, because even if it's submerged, it can't erase its scent. Yet another great example of how heightened senses can be perfect for battle, Rengoku said. The scent mist ran to his nose. Now, he ran up to where the demon was. Water breathing. 5th form. However, to his surprise, 6 hands came out of 3 different puddles. He gasped. There are more, he thought. 6 hands? Does that mean there's 3 demons? Zenitsu asked. Wait, since when were there 3 demons? Iguro asked. Demons rarely work together. Tanjiro leaped out of the way. All 3 demons looked identical, except for the number of horns. Take it easy. You've got this, he thought as the hands reached for him again. 8th form, waterfall basin. Switching forms that suddenly is going to make you miss all the vital spots, Urokodaki said. In that case, I hope I can at least cut something, Tanjiro said. Water came out of Tanjiro's sword once again. This time several streams of water appeared as he slashed. How flashy. I enjoy the level of flamboyance the water adds. You did a good job, Shiro and Shira, Yusui said. Thank you. A lot of editing went into it, Shiro said. What's editing? Several people wondered. It went back to Urokodaki's house, showing another memory of when Urokodaki talked to Tanjiro. Tanjiro, listen to me closely. There's only 1 demon who has the kind of blood that can turn a human, just 1. That's it, in the entire world. Just 1, Tanjiro repeated. The first demon there ever was. He's been here for more than 1,000 years. He's your target, the one who attacked your family. More importantly, I believe he's also the only one who might know how to turn your sister back into a human. That demon's name is Muzan Kibutsuji. Many of the slayers sat uncomfortably at the name of the Demon King. Muzan grinned as he felt the fear emanating from the other side of the room. As his name was mentioned, people could be heard screaming in fear. It didn't show his face either. Lord Muzan, you look so lovely, even though we can't see your face, Dauma said. I swear if this demon doesn't shut up, I'm going to go up to him and stab him with whatever I can find, Kacho thought. A smile was still worn on her face. 8th form, Waterfall Basin. I missed all the vulnerable spots, Tanjiro thought as it showed where the cuts were on the demon. Because I switched forms midway through. Several limbs went flying into the puddle. Kazumi gasped. The demon went back into its swamp as Tanjiro jumped back. He stood in front of the two people, sword out ready to attack. They all have the same exact scent. Usually, demons don't work together, which means one demon has split into 3. Tanjiro thought a serious expression covered his face. I have to take them all out and still protect these two. Don't lose your nerve. Make him talk to you about Muzan Kibutsuji and about how to turn a demon back into a human. Before anyone could call Tanjiro out for being naive, he laughed. I get it. No demon would tell me how to turn Nezuko back, even if they knew. No need to tell me again. The demon's arm was shown, trying to attack the human. However, Tanjiro noticed the change in scent. He turned about quickly. Total concentration. Water breathing. 2nd form, water wheel. Tanjiro thought. Tanjiro did a flip, as the water around him looked like a wheel as well. Sadly, Tanjiro missed the neck once more. Damn it. I missed the neck again, Tanjiro thought. He needs to control his breathing and focus, Tomioka thought. You got this, Tanjiro. Behead that demon for killing women, Zenitsu cheered. Missed again, Tanjiro thought in annoyance. Tanjiro swung his sword a few times before the demon moved through its swamp to further away. I can't chase him, and I can't take a full swing while I'm protecting those two either, Tanjiro thought. That's what I was afraid of. But now, they can't leave, or the shitty demon will just follow them, Shinazugawa sighed. You bastard, she'll go stale. Move out of the way, you little punk. The girl's 16 already. She's losing flavor by the second if I don't eat her soon. There won't be any left at all, the demon screamed. How disgusting, Akaza muttered. What do you mean disgusting? Don't you eat humans? Yusui asked. It's not flashy to lie. Not that it's any of your business, slayers. But I don't eat women, Akaza clarified. Kazumi's face was filled with horror. Just then one of the clones appeared from the puddle. Take a breath, other me. Calm down. No big deal. Nights like this happen, right? I've already feasted on plenty of this town's 16-year-old girls, and every one of them was meaty and delicious. I am satisfied with that, the one-horned demon reasoned. How disgusting, Kacho said. Wah? The girls he's killing are younger than me. How sad, Kenroji said. Well, I'm not satisfied with that at all, other me. I want to devour all of them, the two-horned demon yelled back. Kazumi stepped forward and added force to his voice before saying, You monster, bring Satoko back. The one you took the other night. The demon grinded its teeth once again. The demons formed a triangle with their positions. Satoko? Which one was that? The one-horned demon drew out. It moved its jacket, revealing several trophies it had collected. If her hairpin is among this collection, then I'm afraid I've already eaten her. Sorry. Haimjima began crying once more as he prayed for all the lives that were ended by the demon. Kill that demon Gampakairo quickly, Inosu coughed. I would have already killed the demon, Takedo said, looking over to Tanjiro. You're awfully slow. How can you save lives if you can't even decapitate one weak demon? Takedo-kun, that's quite rude. Remember, this is Tanjiro's first mission. I'm sure that with time he'll become a better, more efficient demon slayer, Kocho said calmly. If he doesn't die from this demon first, Daki laughed. Kazumi's face filled with despair as he recalled what Satoko was wearing the night she died. Tears fell out of his eyes. All the demons went back into hiding as it showed the bright pink bow that Satoko wore. The screen turned black, then looked like water. People could be heard screaming. before it showed Tanjiro's family normally. Then, at their death, a sweet human Nezuko was shown. Tanjiro persevered through his family's death once more, as did many of the other humans in the room. Zenitsu fawned over human Nezuko. Tanjiro rolled his eyes and chuckled as he looked at Zenitsu. Tanjiro was furious. He cut off the arm of one of the demons, missing the vital point yet again. I missed again. Tanjiro thought angrily. He moves so fast. Oh crap, I'm too close to the wall. A puddle opened up on the wall. Tanjiro flipped, avoiding the attack. One of the demon's hands was going straight for Tanjiro's eye. However, it was stopped by Nezuko, who had kicked the box open. She kicked the demon's head so hard it began to spin. Holy shit. I know we saw the demon brat kicking someone's head off earlier, but still, how is she that powerful without eating any humans? Shinazugawa blurted out. Mind your language, please. Though I agree with you, her strength is commendable, Yubayashiki said. Apologies, master, Shinazugawa said. It landed a few feet away from them, blood dripping from its mouth. Why in the world would a demon be traveling with a mere human? The one-horned demon asked. Nezuko left the box, and she growled at the demon. This is good. I can have Nezuko protect them while I go to attack the demon, Tanjiro said. I hope she doesn't hurt them, Kacho said, or we'll have to kill her. What's the meaning of this? Who are these two? Why would a swordsman and a demon be working together? The one-horned demon wondered. Nezuko landed on the ground gently, facing away from Tanjiro. Tanjiro picked up his sword once more. It doesn't make any sense, the one-horned demon said, before going back into its swamp. The two-horned demon spun its head back into position, before getting transported to the swamp. Nezuko panted, keeping her humanity in check. She turned to the two humans. Kazumi gasped and stepped back a bit. Nezuko gently put her hands on them, seeing them as her younger siblings. Wait, I'm confused. How is she seeing them as her siblings? Kenroji asked. While Nezuko was asleep, I used hypnosis on her. I convinced her that all humans were her family, Urokodaki clarified. Nezuko, Tanjiro said softly. Nezuko turned around as two of the demons popped out of the puddle. One of Tanjiro's memories played. Tanjiro sat with Urokodaki. I don't know if this will be of any comfort or not, but while Nezuko was asleep, I used hypnotic suggestion on her, Urokodaki informed Tanjiro. What for? He asked. I convinced her that all humans are her family. I told her to protect them. The demons are your enemies. As Urokodaki spoke, it showed Nezuko running up to the demons. Nezuko, Tanjiro called out. If a demon harms a human, never forgive them, Urokodaki finished. Nezuko raised her leg, preparing an attack. As she brought her leg down, the screen went black. Wow, the demon girl is going to fight now. How intriguing, Dalma commented. I'm excited to see her in action. Hopefully, she can maintain her humanity, Yubayashiki said. On to the next video, Shiro said. Episode 7 Musen Kibutsuji. Once the next episode began playing, it gave a brief recap of what happened last episode. Musen's name was shown after the screen was filled with a blank ink. I thought we were watching that human brat, not the king of demons, Shinjiro scowled. You're right, father, it doesn't make sense. Young Kamado is fighting against a swamp demon, Rengoku said. I guess we'll just have to wait and see, Kacho said. What do I have to do with this useless copy of a child? I swear I will kill him soon, Musen thought. It went back to where we left off. Nezuko was running up to the demon, preparing an attack. She brought her leg down, cracking the ground slightly. However, the demon had vanished into its puddle. The two-horned demon chucked as it went into its swamp. Nezuko, Tanjiro called out. Nezuko stopped chasing the demon and faced Tanjiro. No, don't chase him. Come back here. Come to me, Tanjiro said. Hang on, I just noticed something. Tanjiro, your scar. It's different now, Kenroji mentioned. It is. I'm pretty sure it's from when I got thrown against that tree. But I'm not too sure, Tanjiro said. Nezuko began running back to Tanjiro. Tanjiro called out her name as a puddle opened up on the ground. The demon popped out, trying to attack Nezuko. However, she did a front flip over it. She ran the rest of the way after she landed perfectly. Tanjiro gasped slightly. Right, she's not weak. This is what Urokodaki was talking about. Nezuko's a demon now. She's not a weakling. She doesn't need me to protect her. She can handle herself. So maybe she can handle this. Tanjiro thought. If she can protect these two, I can focus on my attack. Tanjiro took a step forward, but then the puddle began expanding underneath him. He jumped out of the way, while the puddle moved. After a moment, the two-horned demon leaped out of the puddle, trying to attack Nezuko and the girl. He missed and landed away from the others. Nezuko, Tanjiro yelled. The puddle went near his feet, so he said, Nezuko, I'm going underground. Keep them safe for me. Can you do that? Is it really wise to leave the demon girl to protect the humans without supervision? She could easily kill them and escape, Iguro said. Now, Iguro-san. Master told us to treat Nezuko like another slayer. Plus, this gives her another chance to prove herself, Kacho said. Nezuko nodded her head slightly. Tanjiro stepped into the puddle, immediately sinking. The demon turned from Tanjiro to Nezuko and laughed. Tanjiro appeared in the swamp dimension. It's a swamp. What are those? Tanjiro wondered as he sunk deeper into the swamp. As he descended, clothes were swimming around him. It's clothing and stuff that belongs to the people who were taken. So many innocent victims, all murdered. It's unforgivable. Unforgivable. So many lost souls. I hope that you can avenge them, Tanjiro, Amin said. I'll do my best, I promise, Tanjiro said. The other demons laughed as they saw Tanjiro in their habitat. I suppose those demons are better looking than the ones at final selection, but still, they're giving Master Musen a bad name, Daki thought. Getting hard to breathe yet? There isn't a whole lot of air down here in the swamp. Also, the darkness closing in on you only adds to the weight you feel, the one-horned demon laughed. You can't move the way you would above ground down here. You should have looked before you leapt, you stupid fool, the three-horned demon said. The demons hissed and grinded their teeth as they swam toward Tanjiro. Several articles of clothing were shown as they swam. Tanjiro heard the awful noise and turned. You underestimate me? Tanjiro thought. The demons circled Tanjiro as he kept thinking. After all, where do you think I got my training? The air's even thinner up on Mount Sajiri than it is down here. That demon clearly underestimated you. How sad, Kacho said. I'm glad your training is helping you in battle, Urokodaki said. Me too. It would have been awful if all that training was wasted, Tanjiro laughed. It showed Tanjiro's brutal training. With him running down the mountain and panting at the lack of air, it moved back to Tanjiro in the swamp. He closed his eyes. Besides, some moves only unleash their full potential underwater. Really? That's so cool, Tenroji said. Yeah, but it doesn't matter for me because I can't swim, Tomioka thought. He gripped his sword tighter. One of the demons came close to him, growling. Tanjiro swung his sword. Guess it goes both ways. They move even faster here. But it doesn't matter. All I have to do is slash when they get close enough. I'll use the form that works even when I don't have sure footing. A quick and violent twist of my entire body generated a powerful vortex. The demons came swimming to Tanjiro violently. Their nails were pointy, ready to stab Tanjiro. Here comes the scent, the opening thread, total concentration, water breathing. As Tanjiro called the form, he moved, causing the water around him to flow with his blade. The sword showed the bright blue water as well. Sixth form, whirlpool. I suppose that's flashy enough. For now, Yusui said. The demons screamed as their body parts were cut off. It zoomed out, showing the vortex the move had created. Once the vortex disappeared, Tanjiro saw the decaying heads. He reached out and grabbed something. Before it showed what he grabbed, he gagged. These new demons are useless. You'd think that they'd have some common sense and ability, but no. At this point, Lord Musen might as well stop creating new demons, Kokushibo thought. He has a point. I'm wasting blood on these demons who are getting killed quickly. I suppose I'll just give more blood to my upper and lower moons instead, Musen thought. Can't breathe. I gotta get out of here. Hurry, he thought as he began swimming to the opening of the swamp. It went back in time a bit, showing what was happening on the surface while Tanjiro was gone. The puddle gurgled. Kazumi gasped slightly as he looked at the puddle. He turned his attention back to Nezuko and the other demon. They were fighting each other. The swamp demon tried to stab Nezuko's face with his nails, however Nezuko dodged the attacks. After a few more attempted blows, Nezuko brought her arm back and punched the demon clean in its stomach. The demon fell back a bit and threw up blood. Go Nezuko, you've got this, Kenroji said. Why is Kenroji getting impressed by this demon brat? Iguro wondered. I am constantly amazed by not only her strength, but also her will, Yubayashiki said. This girl's powerful, the swamp demon thought, as Nezuko continued beating him up. Seems like she hasn't picked up any skills yet, but she's still so strong. He must have given her a massive amount of blood. The demon tried to go into its swamp, but Nezuko ran to him. She knocked him back and tried to kick him, but she was blocked. She's so fast I can't get back down into the swamp, he thought as he caught her punch. At least, I'm starting to pick up the pattern in all her one-noted attacks. He blocked Nezuko's kick. Still in thought, it doesn't matter if she kicks my head off, or if my organs explode. Demons can regenerate in no time. He ran up to her, blocked her attack once more, scraping her head, causing it to bleed. Kazumi gasped as Nezuko groaned in pain. Hantingu shrunk in fear as more blood was shown. Several of the Hashiras took note of this. Nezuko scooted closer to Tanjiro. Nezuko, Tanjiro yelled. You're overreacting. She's a demon, so something like that won't kill her, Jayako huffed. That's right. Now I'm gonna drill a hole right through your face, the demon thought. He launched his arm towards Nezuko's face. Nezuko opened her eyes while holding her head. However, Tanjiro emerged from the swamp and ran to the two-horned demon. Perfect timing, Yubayashiki said. Tanjiro cut off the demon's arm, just in time. The demon screamed in pain. Hands off my sister, Tanjiro said firmly. Blood was spilling everywhere around them. Before the demon could regenerate its arm back, Tanjiro sliced off the other one. The arm flew into the air, a trail of blood spewing from it. The demon fell to the ground, blood was going all over the place. Tanjiro brought his sword to the demon's face. Tanjiro brought Nezuko behind him, protecting her. Why didn't you cut off its head? Shinazugawa scowled. I need to get information on Muzan Kibutsuji on how to turn Nezuko back, Tanjiro responded. As if he'd tell you anything, brat, Muzan thought. He just took me out. This stupid kid beat two of me already? He thought, his head full of fear. You smell horrible. You give off a scent of rotten oil. I know where it comes from. Tell me how many people have you killed? Tanjiro yelled at the demon. Give me a break already. If women live too long, they turn ugly and then they won't taste good anymore. I killed them for their own good. You know, you should be thanking us, the demon shouted back. Is that demon really trying to justify its actions? How disgusting, Iguro said. Its reasoning isn't even good, Kiryu said. Before the demon could continue yelling, Tanjiro sliced its mouth. The demon gagged and spat out blood. Good, don't show mercy for demons who have killed people, Kocho smiled. Tanjiro was furious and his voice showed it. Never mind. Huh? The demon backed up against the fence. Its breathing was raspy. Tanjiro's sword was right in the demon's face, ready to attack if necessary. What do you know about Muzan Kibutsuji? Tell me, Tanjiro demanded. The demon widened its eyes after Tanjiro said the demon king's name. He hesitated and sat in fear. It whimpered, sitting in thought. Muzan's face flashed in its vision. He was holding his finger to his mouth as if to tell the demon to be quiet. Several of the slayers sat in trying to figure out what was happening. What the hell? Zenitsu exclaimed. Lord Muzan, you look absolutely terrifying. It's beautiful, Enmu praised. Talk to me. Come on, talk, Tanjiro demanded once more. His sword pointed right at the demon's neck. I can't, the demon said. Tanjiro stood with confusion on his face. Huh? Why can't it? Genya asked. That doesn't make sense. It was shaking in fear before sobbing. I can't tell you. I can't do it. I just can't. It showed the demon before it turned. He was foaming at the mouth, and blood was around him as well. The demon king was choking him. You mustn't tell a soul. No one can know anything about me. Do you understand? Don't forget I'm always watching you. So if you tell anyone I will know about it, Muzan threatened. How awful. This is why he must be destroyed, Yubayashiki thought. Muzan Kibutsuji, I promise that I will defeat you this generation, Shinazugawa muttered. Muzan scowled. I wouldn't try if I was you. Unless you want to lose your fingers, toes, and life. I can't say, the demon whimpered to Tanjiro before repeating. I can't. Now the only thing I smell is fear. He's terrified, Tanjiro thought. I can't tell you all right, the demon shouted before regrowing its arms. The demon regrew its arms. Kill it, Tanjiro, Zenitsu yelled as he grabbed onto Tanjiro's Haori. You should have killed it when you had the chance. Now you're putting the two people in danger, Iguro said. Don't worry, I'm sure I'll kill the demon swiftly, Tanjiro assured the humans. He tried to attack Tanjiro, but it didn't work. Tanjiro cut off its arms and head swiftly. The head rolled away before completely disintegrating. The body following shortly. Tanjiro groaned. I failed to get any information. Again, Tanjiro thought, annoyed. He put his sword back into its sheath. He looked at Nezuko, freaking out when he saw her sleeping. Nezuko, he yelled as he ran up to her. He caressed Nezuko's cheek before speaking. She's asleep. And the bleeding stopped, so that does help her recover. I failed. I'm sorry, but just hang on. I promise you that I will make you human again. Tanjiro put Nezuko back into her box. Kazumi had put down the girl. He was on his knees mortified. The night was almost over by the time the demon had been slain. Tanjiro put the box on his shoulders before walking over to Kazumi. I hope that things get better for him, Rengoku said. Mr. Kazumi, Tanjiro said as he bent down, are you all right? He began crying. I lost my fiancé. How could I be all right? Mr. Kazumi, you have to go on no matter what. In spite of losing people. Even though it's devastating, Tanjiro said calmly. His words remind me of Kani. Words as gentle as sunlight. Kacho thought. Such wise words, Haimjima praised. Kazumi grabbed Tanjiro's Haori and screamed at him. How am I supposed to do that? You're just a kid. What do you know? Tanjiro began tearing up slightly at the harsh words. He used his Haori to wipe his eyes. What harsh words? You didn't deserve that, Aoi said. Tanjiro put his hands gently on top of Kazumi's and smiled. Kazumi moved back. His eyes widened. Tanjiro stood up. I'll be on my way now, Tanjiro said calmly. Everybody stood in awe at Tanjiro's kindness, wondering why he didn't fight back when he had every right to, wondering why he didn't lash out calling the man ungrateful. You saved his ass. Why are you just letting him talk to you like that? Jutaro yelled. He was grieving. There was no point in yelling at him. At least that's how I feel right now, Tanjiro answered. He grabbed a piece of cloth from his pocket and handed it to Kazumi. Isn't that the Zenitsu started? It's the cloth that the demon filled with his trophies, Kenroji said, tearing up. I hope that he can find something that belonged to his fiancée in there, Rengoku said. Here, hopefully you'll find something of Miss Satoko's in there, Tanjiro said. Kazumi wept as he opened the fabric, finding the bow that Satoko wore. He brought it to his face and wept harder. Tanjiro bowed before taking his leave. Kazumi gasped and looked back at Tanjiro. You're so kind, Tanjiro. Never lose it, Yubayashiki smiled. I promise. I'll stay kind for as long as possible. Without letting it be my downfall, Tanjiro smiled back. Why did he do that? Doesn't he have his own priorities? He shouldn't be wasting time on this man. He should be heading to his next mission, Takedo thought. You've been through this yourself, haven't you? He thought as Tanjiro continued walking away. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. Please forgive me. I'm so sorry, he pleaded. Tanjiro didn't turn around. All he did was wave at Kazumi. His hands were covered in calluses and bruises. His hands are heartbreaking, hardened and thick from training. They're not the hands of a boy. Kazumi thought tears fell out of his eyes. I'm leaving the girl with you. Get her home safe, Tanjiro shouted. He walked away after. Let's hope the Kakushi get there before anyone sees them two together, Aoi said. Huh? What do you mean? Tanjiro asked. Think about it. The townsfolk don't know about demons. They just think someone is kidnapping the girls. Kazumi-san has already taken the blame for the last victim, so they might try to pin it on him again, Aoi explained. Oh, Tanjiro frowned. I do that, I promise, Kazumi shouted back as he wept. I suppose that fight was all right, but still, he looks awfully weak. We better get to the good parts soon, Akaza thought. It changed to midday. Tanjiro's crow was circling the air. It followed Tanjiro, who was walking angrily. I'm not alone. How many people have you killed, tortured, tormented? I'll never forgive you. Muzan Kibutsuji, I'll make you pay. That rage? I need him killed immediately. I don't care what it takes. Muzan thought. His face was filled with a mix of fear and anger. I'm confused. This part was labeled as the Demon King's name. But so far, he hasn't been seen at all, Hinatsuru said. Be patient, please. All will make sense in due time, Shiro said. Tanjiro was taken out of his rage by his crow landing on his shoulder. Head to Asakusa, Tokyo now. Rumor has it that demons are lurking around there. Ka. Wait. Asakusa, Tokyo? Don't I have a fake family there? He better not run into me, or my heart will explode after I explode his head, Muzan thought. I've got another mission already, Tanjiro said. Oh yes you do, his crow replied in a sing-song voice. Could you at least give me a minute? Tanjiro tried to reason. I don't even get a second to relax, Tanjiro complained. If you can move, you can kill demons. Also, your voice is annoying, Takedo said. No time, move it. Come on, just give me a chance to, Tanjiro tried to say. His crow fluttered around his face. Hey, Tanjiro yelled. Just shut up and get a move on, his crow yelled. The screen went black for a moment before showing the city. It was dark out, but the city was well lit. The city was still bustling despite the night being out. The streets were filled with people. It took a moment, but it showed Tanjiro. He was in shock. Wow, the city is so big and advanced, Tanjiro said, his face lit up. What were you expecting? Zenitsu asked. Well, Nezuko and I grew up in a small town. So, whenever it got dark, it was dark until the sun rose once more, Tanjiro chuckled. The big cities have come a lot further than I expected. It's nighttime, but it's so bright out, he thought. Several signs were hung out around the city saying different things. Tanjiro stood in the middle of the path, while Nezuko was still sleeping. Her wound was fully closed. Oh, Nezuko is still sleeping. I hope she wakes up soon, Tanjiro muttered. The buildings are so tall. What's the deal? Incredible and overwhelming, he thought as he dragged Nezuko through the crowd. A train was coming near the siblings. Tanjiro gasped slightly and stepped back. Despite not being in the way, he pulled his blue hood up. This is making me feel dizzy, he admitted. Tanjiro dragged Nezuko through the crowd before finding an alleyway. That's not a good idea, Tomioka thought as he remembered what happened when he went down a dark alleyway. Let's go this way, Tanjiro said. However, what he didn't expect was two people making out in the darkness. Tanjiro stood mortified, blush on his cheeks from embarrassment. He bowed. So sorry to bother you, he said, before quickly leaving the alleyway. A few laughed at Tanjiro's situation. Tanjiro looked away from the screen and blush covered his face. God, people should really be more mindful of others, Shinazugawa scoffed. Tanjiro ran with Nezuko through the city. He was overwhelmed with all the bright lights and loud noises. Eventually, he made it to a less crowded area where there was an udon cart. Pardon me, sir. Could I get a bowl of udon with grated yam? Tanjiro asked. Shouldn't you be looking for the demon? Genya asked. I know, but I just needed a break. The city was likely giving me a headache from the bright lights. Sorry, Tanjiro explained. Why, yes, coming right up, the shop owner said. Tanjiro sat on a bench while his food was being made. Nezuko rocked back and forth, her eyes still closed. I've never been to a place like this before. It's way too crowded, Tanjiro said. Tanjiro smiled as Nezuko rested her head on his shoulder. Here your udon with yam. Let me know how you like it, the man said, as he gave Tanjiro his food through the window. How delicious, Kenroji said. I'd love some udon right now. Oh, thank you very much, Tanjiro said as he grabbed his food. That food looks absolutely delicious, Rengoku shouted. Tanjiro took one sip of his steaming food and then a red mist filled his nose. Tanjiro stood up and dropped his bowl in fear. He smelled the air again several times as he looked around. He took his sword and ran back into the main part of the city. Why are you running back into the city now? Kanao asked after she flipped her coin. How could you drop such a good bowl of udon? Rengoku asked. That scent. Why is it here? And why now? He wondered as he ran to the crowd. It's the same scent I found at my house. Muzan Kibutsuji. Wait, what? You can just smell him. That's so useful, Aoi shouted. Please tell me you're not planning on confronting him carelessly, Yorokodaki said. He can follow my scent. That's not good, Muzan thought. Tanjiro pushed through the crowd, the red mist guiding him to his target. It must be him. He's here. The mist led to one person. Tanjiro grabbed his shoulder, and the man looked at Tanjiro. His red eyes sent chills down Tanjiro's spine. Yo, you are a fool. Master Muzan is just going to kill you. Spill your blood all over the streets, Hantengu warned. That sucks. Now you can't become a demon and spar with me forever, Akaza groaned. It's just our luck that his look-alike found Lord Muzan. Knowing Muzan, he's going to send an upper moon to kill the boy, Kokushibo thought. Huh, Muzan murmured. He was confused. Anger was glazed on Tanjiro's face. I found him. Tanjiro reached to pull out his sword, but he stopped. What? Why are you stopping? You caught him off guard. Kill him, Iguro shouted. Daddy, a little girl's voice said. Muzan turned and revealed a little girl who had 2 pink bows in her hair. All of the humans in the room froze when they heard the little girl. What the fuck? Why do you have a child, you bastard? Shinazugawa yelled. Language, say me, Yubayashiki said calmly, trying to assess the situation. Who's that? She asked. Tanjiro froze in horror. He's... Don't worry, sweetie, Muzan said. His voice was hushed under Tanjiro's thoughts. What is this? Is he? He's living here posing as a human, he thought as it showed a side view of their meeting. I'm sorry, is there something I can do for you? Are you all right? You seem to be a bit flustered, Muzan asked, his voice carefree. Another human walked up to the 3 and spoke. Darling, what's the matter? That woman. She thinks he's her husband, Suma exclaimed fearfully. Don't worry, mother, the little girl assured. Tanjiro shuddered in fear, bringing a hand to his mouth and stomach. They're human, the girl and the woman. Their scent is human. But how? Can't you tell? This guy is a demon. He eats people. Who is this boy? The woman asked. I really don't know. I'm just as confused as you are. I've never seen him before, Muzan replied. This is vile. He's posing as a human. Tanjiro can't kill him now because there are too many witnesses. However, the same is true for Kibutsuji. I pray for Tanjiro's safety. Yubayashiki thought. Tanjiro stood in disbelief. Just then Muzan extended his nails. He must have made a mistake, thought that I was someone else, Muzan said as he scratched someone on the back of his neck. Wait, is there blood leaving that man's neck? Tanjiro wondered. Oh, you think that's it? His wife said. Tanjiro gasped, noticing the blood leaving the man's neck. The man grabbed at his neck, his wife checking in on him. Oh, what's going on, sweetheart? His wife asked. He moved his hand from his neck and transformed into a demon. His teeth grew much sharper and veins looked like they were about to burst. You bastard, you made another demon just to escape Kamado-kun, didn't you? Iguro said. You look pale, his wife commented. Her husband looked up from the ground. Saliva was spewing out of his mouth. His sclera was red rather than white. He growled as he bit his wife's shoulder. The lady, he attacked her, Kenroji yelled. No, stop, Tanjiro yelled as he ran towards the couple. The woman screamed in pain as bystanders looked in horror. Muzan looked annoyed yet content that the slayer was going to leave. After that the screen faded to black once again. Tanjiro, you must choose, saving the people in the crowd, or going after Kibutsuji, Yubayashiki said. I know. I'll try to do whatever I can, Tanjiro confirmed. This brat. I can't wait for him to be killed by someone. He thinks he has the right to confront our lord and get away with it, Jayako thought. Let's continue then, Shira said.